Get in the same time zone.
Exactly.
Mwahaha.
Yeah, it's about 8:18 for me. Ryan, I think you're an hour behind me.
I am. It's 7:18 for me.
7:18. Yep.
Okay,
Yeah.
it's redirecting to Zoom.
It's very
to
early
YouTube.
for Alex.
Yeah, I'm having a good day. This is my first time drinking before noon. You've started my retirement
That's
early.
amazing. All right, I'll post the link.
We have this saying in Germany, kein Bier vor vier, which means no beer before 4.
What the heck, dude?
So-
Don't y'all have the beer dispensaries for like lunchtime meals?
Yeah, of course. And
Okay.
nobody gives a fuck about this rule.
No,
so.
I've had beer at lunch a few times, so that's not true. And sometimes lunch starts right
Oh,
before
man,
me, so-
Did you know that you can get beer at McDonald's in Germany?
Yeah, I have watched Pulp
No.
Fiction, man. I mean,
Okay, right. At Pulp Fiction, yeah.
Yeah, what's up?
movie theaters everywhere, right?
Right. Okay. If my dog starts, that was me, Griffin. Griffin, that was my drink, sir. All right. I'll let y'all send the link out on your thing, and then we'll let some folks hop on. Pritesh, you're
Yep.
much better at like monitoring the chat on this stuff than I am. As an aside.
Pritesh is the
Hey, it's
perfect
all good,
YouTuber,
man.
so
It's all good, man. Hey, I haven't done a YouTube video in like a week.
It's
The
been a while.
last- it's been a minute. I'm getting old, man. I know,
Oh my
I know.
God.
It's just like losing the mojo here. What's up with that? It's like, oh gosh.
You know, I can't say anything. It's been a hot minute since I posted a video. This is
Where are you tweeting this out from? From the T Ryan Jones _Muse?
Yeah,
account?
which I'll be
Okay.
changing that name here in probably a couple days.
Oh, I just saw you made a live stream about Project Catalyst, and then I clicked right in the middle of it, and the first thing I see is my proposal. So I'm very thankful
Hey.
for that.
Yeah,
thank you.
NFT Maker. Guys, for anybody watching right now, NFT Maker, go vote.
Nobody's watching right now.
Nobody's watching.
Perfect timing on the show, Pritesh. Now you can do something more productive for your time and don't have to.
We've got 2 people watching right now, and it's probably
Yeah.
myself and I don't know,
And
maybe
me.
Yeah.
Patrick.
It's
Oh,
not,
my
it's not
But
the
thank
first
you,
time I've
thank
been on
you.
a stream with only Patrick watching.
that's all that matters. It's
Oh,
okay.
that's true.
You know what? I don't care. We don't need anybody here. We're just here hanging out. That's all that matters. Let me see here. Okay, I got that done. Great. All right. I just want Eye of the King to hop on again.
Oh no.
I tried to bribe him
Please.
with some unsigs in our end of drop thing, and I couldn't get him to budge. I told him, you're gonna regret this. It's gonna be like a couple thousand ADA you passed on just to say hi, one word, hi, and
I'm just saying. We can even
Yeah.
disguise his voice. Like he can throw in, he can just like send a recording to us, and I'll run it through like a little editor, and we can just like.
vocoder.
Oh my God.
Honestly, if he says hi at some point, I think it's gonna be in the Epoch's End.
That's
thing.
fair.
Yeah.
Hey, Solar Studios, how are you?
Yeah, I was looking on the CNFT marketplace they put up. The floor for unsigs, I got to tell you what, definitely not
Man.
58.
It's pretty high. I was so
Yeah.
surprised.
I know.
Listen, look,
But I actually have a story about that. There's this guy who he paid in the last minutes for one of the last unsigs and then got refunded because we didn't have any more. And then I offered him, because it was so sad and he promised his wife to get one for them. I offered him to sell one of mine to him for like the same price. And then he came and he wanted like free. And he was like super pissed that I didn't want to give him free. And then later on, some friend of him came, but I'm thinking it's a fake account that he made, who also said that he wanted one. And I offered him one for 700 ADA now, so maybe he'll take it.
Whoa.
Listen, Alex, I don't think I told you this. I had somebody offer me 1750, I think, for one of them. So I was like,
I mean, it's funny. Like I've been accused of being materialistic by like hyping up a little bit of the ADA values of these things, or
what?
that people are buying them, and it's not about the money, but like money. Even though we're talking about non-fungible tokens, like ADA or currency is the ultimate fungible thing. It's not about what the money or the amount of money. It's about the time and effort someone is willing to put in to earn that money and then trade it for something you made, whether it's a song or whether it's whatever. And it's that's what's interesting to me. It's like the I don't know, time and energy and emotional investment that people are putting into it. It's not like the points on the scoreboard. It's the practices that went into earning those points, right? That's why I'm interested in what people are willing to do for it. So
I mean, listen, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna need you to break down this like rarity thing for me, because I feel like I cannot be consuming any of this.
It's actually, yeah, I actually hate it. I think rarity is a really dumb thing. I've never like been to a museum and been like, that painting is more rare, like within a single artist stuff, right?
Yeah,
like you don't talk about, maybe talk about the early works are more rare or the later works are more rare, but it's a collection. It's like, I don't know. I do include rarity statistics, but here's the other thing about it. I think in UNSIGs, rarity is mathematically induced. Like I didn't choose what would be rare. In every other kind of CNFT collection, no disrespect to other CNFT collections, like a pink banana could have been the most rare thing, or a diamond squirt gun, right? Whatever, exactly. Like it's just an arbitrary choice, and yeah, those things have maybe reasons why they're chosen, but like here, it's actually like there's only one way to be a single color unsig, like all pink, right, or all blue, or all like, and there's many ways to be some kind of different version of that. So if you want the TLDR version, lower numbers tend to be rarer because of the way we iterate over the space. That's the easiest thing. If you don't want to know anything else, lower numbers.
Honestly, there are only two things that I know about. I've been ignoring the whole rarity thing for a long time, but people keep asking me, and the only thing is that like lower numbers are rare, and black and whites are very rare.
There's only black and whites are something that break that mold, and any I call them monochromes as well. Those can occur later in the collection, where like the red, green, and blue ones occur pretty early on, but you might have like a randomly only pink or only yellow or only whatever, and that's like when all the primary and secondary colors and properties align. Those can occur anywhere or almost anywhere in the collection. And people have originally, those were the ones that went for the most. I think 1200 ADA were the monochromes that went even like in phase 1 or phase 2, something like that. 1200 ADA, and that was like a high peak. Now we have other non-monochromes going for 2000, 1250. And I think the 000 so far has had the highest offer, has been 30,000 ADA for it.
I just want that one so bad. I feel really good about I feel really good about my 39 unsigs that I bought like a madman. That first round was I just had a wallet with like 600 ADA in it, and I was just going click, click, click.
Well, I mean I really appreciate it. I remember when you were buying, and I'm like, this man is fucking insane. Sorry, because you were pretty early on. It was after our interview, and I'm like, 39. Like, what is wrong? Has he talked to his wife?
But like, I get it. Like, to me, it's a really cool thing. Like, is it going to be a Mona Lisa? No, but like, it's the first time that I know that it's been algorithmically generated.
Maybe,
like,
Ryan.
Maybe. Okay.
I mean, what I'd argue is this is like the first of a kind.
Yeah.
Right. And so, let's forget about the first part. It's a different thing, and it's attracted a different kind of. We're all CNFTs, and I love all CNFTs. Pratesh's as well. You know, the samurai sword, the hospital.
Oh yeah, maybe not all of them.
Yeah, not all. Okay, yeah, that's right. Thank
some that I have beef with.
Yeah. I like a lot of the things.
You're talking about some mirrors around here or something like that.
No, that's
don't,
real
don't
art,
even
man.
start, please. Don't start.
We've already opened the bottle, but what was the thing? We've attracted a really different. I don't want to call them clientele, but like throughout the drop, I don't know how many times I got tweets that were like, I've never bought an NFT before, but I chose to buy an unsig. And I don't think people realize, like, when I joined the CNFT discords and everything, like, how many thousands of people were in those discords, Patrick? 2,000 or 3,000 or 6,000?
Depends on the discord.
Yeah. But I mean, like, it was kind of an insular community of people who like they bought a space bud and then they started to buy other things, right? and the community
Mhm.
was kind of the size of the community, because there was a people who are interested in that thing, and that's fine and that's cool. But what we did that I think can really be attributing success, now that people have done a little bit of analytics on it, is attract a different audience. And that audience is much more, I don't want to say adult, but certainly like they're not into cartoons, they're not into this other thing. Like I would call them like the classical music tastes type people, or like the museum going people. There's a lot of, yeah, I mean, it's the Winnie the Pooh meme, or whatever you want to call it, but the distribution was really weird. Like there's people who have spent over $100,000 on unsigs.
How humbling is that?
From the primary sale. Yeah, I mean, it's incredibly weird. Like I said, 39 was crazy to me, but
I felt pretty good about my purchase, but then and then here comes, like you said, these people with they have like 400, and I'm sitting there going, first of all, how did you sit there and click that many times to get? And
400 I realized, is very low.
400 is not. Yeah, the highest wallet I think has something like 3,900 or something like that. They have 10% of the collection.
So I'm a
they bought mostly in the no 5.75 inches is the average, bro. You okay?
This video is not for children. I'm just going to go ahead and point that out.
I'm talking about the. I'm talking about the.
And that's why Kaizen
doesn't
want to host. That's exactly why.
Hey, I'm only one beer in. This is going to be fun.
I only
how
drink
many do you have?
Beer once a month. So
I brought a 6-pack.
Oh,
wow.
nice.
Oh my god!
I don't know if we're going to do all 6. I got this
bottle.
German beer. Patrick, this one's for you, buddy. This one's for you. Worst.
I feel so honored.
I'm going to say it right. It's Warsteiner.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay. Yes.
I thought the W was a V. Or is the
Das
V a
einzig wahre Warsteiner. It's the slogan.
There he goes.
Nice.
See, there you go.
I don't think you're allowed to say that on YouTube.
Oh my gosh.
That'll get you demonetized for that
Side note, hello everybody that's joining us. I see we have a couple more folks here. If you don't know who these people are, they are very wonderful people. We have Alex, who is he's the creator of Unsigs, and then we have Patrick, who runs Battlepool, but Patrick also has NFT Maker. If you didn't vote for his project in Catalyst Fund 5, what are you doing? And then we also have the one and the only Pratesh, who has Kaizen Crypto. And all of us have just wonderful, wonderful things to share with the community tonight and celebrate, right? Alex, I got to give you a shout out, dude. You have sold all of your Unsigs, all 31,000 something. I don't know what the exact number. I know you do though.
Yeah, we did, and thanks to Patrick's help and an amazing community. Like I said, I think the project only would have worked on Cardano because it's a different kind of audience. I don't think like the ETH Moon Boys or some other altcoin Moon Boys would have got it right. And so the whole like peer review process and that kind of more academic minded mindset, I think like those people already being assembled by Cardano, like they were our people and they got it. And so I'm really grateful.
I disagree.
You disagree?
Oh man,
I disagree.
I'm shocked.
Actually,
I'm shocked, sir. How
wait,
could you disagree? You of all people.
Patrick has a contrarian view. I'm sorry. What? No, actually, you know what? I agree with Patrick here. You know what they would have done? It would have been like Pokemon, where you could have like paid a whole bunch of money, and then you actually didn't actually hash your NFT because you couldn't afford to, because the gas fees for your NFT
that's a good point.
Worth more than your NFT
Yeah,
to begin with.
yeah, that's
we
definitely.
couldn't have done it. We couldn't have sold them for 58 each or $50 roughly equivalent, right? Because it would have cost us so much to mint them.
Yeah, so. That's definitely true. But I don't think that the Cardano community particularly gets it, because you're kind of contradicting yourself when you say that we brought in many people from outside who never even had ADA. And that's true. And we know that there are so many like that bought this as their first NFT, and then on the other hand,
well, let's say I'm saying it's a disjoint set kind of thing. There's I'd say within the larger Cardano community, there were people who got it and they hadn't bought CNFTs before, right? So within Cardano, there's a smaller CNFT community, which is 2,000 to 6,000 people, and like they were doing their thing, right? And that's fine. Like I'm not hating on them at all. But this is just because it's also a CNFT doesn't mean we're playing the same game, right? Like
that's true.
We're in the country. I'm a Lil Nas X with Old Town Road, right? And I'm kind of invading the country charts, whatever, and
I love
and
this.
having awesome prison scenes. So that's
Oh
me.
my god. No, but like seriously, I think the experience, right? I think maybe what you're getting at is, and this is, I mean, you got even hands down to Patrick's NFT maker with that whole experience of actually purchasing this, right? That was smooth. I mean, I know, I'm sure
You
that
made that
Patrick
video,
was,
right?
I did, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm sure Patrick was sweating bullets in the background, but listen,
So many times. I've never been so stressed out. Every morning I
How
woke
many
up, the first
DMs
thing I
did you
checked.
always get? Yeah.
So many. Every morning, the first thing I checked was like the tech support channel that we have on the Discord, and every time there was a message, I was like, "Oh my god, please don't." Nothing broke, and
I mean, I
Patrick
look
got
at
25% and he earned every penny of it or every Lovelace of it.
Ew.
It was
Well,
good.
I think this really is like in direct. I mean, it's a little different, right? But I think the quality of how you guys went about this is like right up there with Barry with with his NFT release. I think both of those
I
projects
didn't
to
want
me.
my skill to get in the way of the project, right? So Patrick went beyond by doing the reveal and all that other kind of stuff, right? But like the we had seen some NFT drops be run through like Google Sheets and things like that, and I didn't want that to be the conversation, right? And so I thought, I might lose some revenue on paper, but I think that the sale will go better, people will have a better time of it, and I'll be more confident if I work with someone. And it to me it just shows like economic specialization a bit. Patrick's good at what he does, I'm good at what I do, and together more than the sum of its parts, right? Kind of thing. So
There you go. And now you get to do this full time now.
I know it's
because
insane. It's insane.
like that was your. I remember you saying this, right? Like you. I mean, jokingly, but you're like,
Yeah.
I just want to sell enough to where I can have enough money to where I can do this full time and really flesh this thing out. And little did you know what was going to happen. So,
I mean, a part of me kind of believed. I mean, honestly, I think it's quite funny. I think there's other projects who have done stuff, but part of my takeaway from this is like having a vision and setting the bar high enough so that you can succeed, right? Like, I could have like done this and then started a Discord channel and then been like, I'll send you 2 or 3 unsigs if you send me 58. Like that's a lot. I think something that a lot of people do. But I believed in the idea enough that said, no, let's try and do this. I'm gonna pitch some people. I pitched Patrick. Let's do this. It's gonna take some time. It's gonna take some effort. I made him an offer that, and I showed him some sales projections or something. If we sell this many, you're gonna get this much money. And I think it worked out. But
for the record, I did not expect to make. I did not expect it to be like
an overwhelming
closely,
success.
an overwhelming success. I expected to like maybe if we're lucky to sell 1,000 unsigs. Honestly, and I love the project, but I always like monitor the NFT space and everything. And I was just very curious if we can actually do it and if we can actually bring, success to a project that started a little bit later but brought actual art to the NFT space. So, I'm super happy that it went well because it, succeeded my expectations.
And I think one of the legacies of the project is going to be NFT Maker, right? Like I feel like
Sure.
you're doing Catalyst, but you don't really need Catalyst anymore. Like it would be nice. It would be good. Everyone go vote for Catalyst. Fun,
yeah.
but
the thing here is which a lot of people don't understand is that my money isn't 100% NFT Maker. We founded a company in Germany. It's called Yellow House GmbH and GmbH, and it's like a very expensive thing to do to found companies in Germany. And you have to pay a lot of taxes. You have to pay like lawyers and stuff. It's
working
really
capital,
annoying.
everything.
Yeah, it's freaking horrible. I'm trying to like basically I have $5,000 or euro to work with at this moment, and that's and I can spend more, but I shouldn't. And every penny that I earned for the unsigs, like part of it went into the NFT Maker, of course. but most of it is not going into the NFT maker because I don't want to disrupt the power balance between me and my co-founders too much. Like I already do, and I own most of the NFT maker project. But if I go ahead and put like $100,000 in or something like that, then it just wouldn't be fair at all anymore.
The company
would have
needs to
take
survive
like 90%.
without your
Yeah.
investment.
Exactly. That's exactly what it does, and that's why we're applying for Catalyst, and that's why we need the money, and not only the money, it's also about reputation, and just being on the radar of IOHK and the kind of Cardano Foundation, and getting those spotlights in Cardano 360. And I'm super happy about how it went already. I mean, the Cardano Foundation seems to love me somehow, and
I mean, you look like a star on the 360 when they had you on there. It's like, there you are. You.
So I'll rephrase. You don't need the money, but the NFT maker does need the funding, and it would be a very bad thing if you weren't to get your funding, because
exactly,
co-founder and cap tables,
exactly, like and I'm paying myself. Like I don't have a job. I'm working full time on NFT maker and on other Cardano stuff. And I'm paying myself through the Pool of Babel and this money that we earn together. But the other co-founders, they don't have that much ADA, and they actually have to work a job, and some are still studying. So so
NFT maker pay them.
Exactly. That's the point. Yeah.
There you go. Pritesh, you're being quiet over there, but you haven't been very quiet on Twitter.
I'm soaking it all in. Because it's like it's a different experience for everybody. I mean, hearing the thoughts from running a company in Germany, it's pretty similar to what you have in the US. With all the administrative stuff, and it's like, I mean, you're probably going to have to go through a lot more in terms of compliance with regulation. I mean, I'm not sure what that's like in Germany, but that's going to be an interesting topic here in the United States.
Germans are famous for bureaucracy.
I figured we were going to talk about that tonight.
Yeah.
I might or might not have sent explicatives to some friends of mine going, what the bleepity bleep are they trying to pass in a freaking infrastructure bill? Bleepity bleepity bleep bleep bleep. Do they even know what they're trying to do? That's impossible to do that. Bleepity. Anyways, yes. So side note, listen, Pritesh, you actually tweeted, I guess a couple days ago. If anybody doesn't know this, all these lovely little NFTs that he's been creating, they're gonna serve a purpose here, other than just to admire in your chosen medium here in the coming, I guess, quarters. Yeah. I wouldn't say this, but you tweeted it, so I can say it now, right? You're making a freaking game, dude. That's going to be using your NFTs. Come on.
So big shout out to Adam Dean, like one of the king of the CNFT space, and Bajewski, two star, like superstar guys. I'm so excited about what we're building. So it's this browser-based NFT game. So I guess just to simplify it, so think Super Smash Bros, but for your favorite Cardano characters, just like something really cool. So we wanted to do something fun. These CNFTs, so like we've put a lot of work into creating awesome designs, and then so it's going to be a game. It's going to be really exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
So is there going to be a Hoskinson, and is his attack going to be a donkey kick or something like that?
A donkey kick? I like the idea.
I'm just saying. I'm just going to throw that out there. So I'm
actually really excited for that. I've seen the video that you put out. That I was super surprised to see somebody else on your channel. But
see, I tell you what, man. I haven't posted a video in an entire week. We had Rico come on and do a video.
We know why. You've been so busy.
It's just been nuts, man. I tell you, it's been nuts. But that's the thing, our community is so great. You just got people that are so talented. You got people from all over the world that are just willing to help, and it's amazing. Just surrounded by awesome people.
That is a spot on. So, can you give any how much information can you divulge as far as
exclusive?
Exclusive, like insider scoop, like sneak preview.
Do you have anything?
Show us some leg, Pritesh.
Oh.
he wants to see some skin, you guys. He wants to see some skin.
I woke up early for this.
Just in case you all don't know this, for those of you watching the live stream, we have people from Germany, East Coast, Central Time, and then Japan. So we are all over the place, which is fantastic, because in what other industry can you just meet and make friends with some of the most amazing people who you would never, ever come in contact with otherwise? So it's
I
pretty
told
awesome.
Patrick I love him on Discord the other day in DMs. It was like I felt very emotional, and I won't say what he replied, but he touched me.
Oh,
You told me that like multiple times by now.
Okay, I'm just so amazed at what you've done for me. So
don't underestimate a good bromance. It's what
By
it
the
is.
way, on this note, are you guys planning to go to any of the Cardano summit events?
Yes,
for sure,
yes,
right?
hands down.
Which ones are you going to?
I
I don't
to
know
plan.
what ones there are, but I'll go.
I think the only one that I know of for sure is the one that's in September in Wyoming.
Yep.
I think that would be great. I mean, I live in the US, Ryan. I know you live in US.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'll just gonna book a plane
Jesus.
ticket, get a hotel,
Yeah.
you know,
I
just
might
do all
just
the
drive
works.
I might hop in my
Maybe I
Jeep
might
and
have
just
to
drive
go
up
to
there.
Wyoming too.
I mean, I'm just saying.
Come on,
Jackson
Patrick.
Hole, where is it at?
There are many around the world. I mean, one is in
Larrabee?
Tokyo. Like 10 are in Europe and everywhere basically.
Yeah.
I've actually. Go ahead.
No, I'm sorry. I was just gonna say, like, it's gonna be interesting with the situation with COVID. You know, I'm kind of
Mhm.
curious how they're planning on doing all these places around the world. It's like, okay, you know, they must have
Thanks
something
for
planned.
killing the monetization of Ryan's video right there, Pritesh.
I said the C word.
You know, here's the deal. I don't even monetize my channel. If you want to help us all out, you can stake your ADA to any one of these 4 or 5 stake pools that we have. All right, mine's Muse, Patrick's Babel. It's Babel, Tower of
It's Babel.
Sorry, Alex, you
I
have.
always say Babel.
Alex, I am. Don't get on to me. I'm so sorry. It's
Monad.
Monad. Thank you. I didn't want to mispronounce it. Thank you. Monad pool, and then Pritesh, you have Kaizen, and then you also have.
Pritesh.
Krishna,
We talked about
Kaizen
this,
2,
Pritesh.
Kronos, and Kobe.
We talked about Pritesh.
Kobe.
So he has 4 for you to pick from, so you can take your choice. They all do wonderful things, as do ours. So, side note, I got to put the spiel in here. Patrick, I thought this was awesome. You tweeted this just a few minutes, like an hour ago, right? So we're having to get really creative with how we get delegators to our pools, right? We have to incentivize to make life wonderful for you folks choosing our lovely stake pools, right? And Patrick, you have a little incentive for your delegators now. Is that correct?
That is correct. Well, actually, Stale has an incentive for my delegators, which is amazing. You know this website CNFT.io, really cool marketplace. Basically, my direct opponent when it comes to NFT marketplaces. But
in the yellow corner.
As a Babel delegator, you will now get reduced fees on CNFT.io. Thanks to the amazing Stale, which I actually talked to today. It's the first time that we actually had like a voice chat. We spoke for a few hours and we decided to all go to a Cardano summit together with Alessandro, myself, and Stale. We're actually thinking about the one in Zurich, but we're not decided. And honestly, the one in Wyoming sounds very cool. So I mean,
Yeah.
maybe.
Well, I just thought that was a really, really cool, just a perk, right? So if you're delegating to Babel, you get a reduction in your fees using CNFT Maker, right?
CNFT.io.
Sorry, yeah. CNFT.io. So I think that's pretty awesome. So
It is.
And then Pritesh, you're giving delegates airdrops, or you're doing random drawing giveaways of NFTs, right?
NFTs.
That they're now going to be able to turn around and utilize in this lovely web app.
The Lovelace Saga.
That's what you're calling it?
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
That's fantastic.
Hey guys, just real quick, turn to the chat. So you guys all know Alfred, right? From Cardano Hotel.
Yeah.
I've seen what he's, because we were talking about where they're having all these meetups. So just turning to the chat, he said that we're putting in our candidacy for Barcelona. If we get it, we'll be able to fill the house with local people. No COVID travel needed. Wouldn't that be
Wow.
awesome? I can't even wait to go to the Cardano Hotel.
Yeah, me neither.
Seriously.
I saw he's
I'm
also
ready.
doing. I saw he's also doing NFTs for people who stay at his hotel. I was just like, well, this is so cool.
Okay. So here's what I think needs to happen, Alfred. You need to get a TV or something to where we can have some high medium of portraying maybe some unsigs on your walls in each room. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yes.
I'm just saying. I think that would be kind of cool if we can have some of that. So here, side note, just for NFTs in general, right? The future is digital. I think we all can agree on that, right? For the most part. I think what we're going to find is that you're going to need to have new mediums of actually interacting with that digital content, right? And so I think we're going to need to, that's going to need to be a shift in people's mindsets whenever they're building out art galleries or take your pick, whatever, right? So I'm just saying. Oh, he said yep. All right, I got a yep. It's an unofficial yes.
Nice.
I love it.
By the way, how does it feel, Alex, to finally be on a live stream with more than one viewer?
Oh,
I don't know how to process this. This is quite an abnormal experience for me, especially since my one viewer is on stream with me right now. I was just scrolling through. I needed to say hi to Jory, who likes and retweets everything I do on Twitter, basically.
Yeah, that's so true.
That is the Jory. I love that Black Lab or Chocolate Lab, whatever it is. Yeah, just hi.
I love it.
I see that too. Every single tweet. Yeah. It's amazing. Love it.
So, okay, Cardano 360. Let's just touch base. Thoughts. I mean, I'm gonna be honest, it was like the Cardano 360 Lite, but you can't expect heavy announcements from every month. So, I will say this, we are painting with all the colors of the wind and the rainbow. And
the unsigs.
And yes, I mean, I do think that Cardano has about as many colors as your unsigs do, which is, I mean, hey, I'm okay with that. Get it right the first time. I don't have a problem with that. But unpack this, gentlemen. Go. That's what I want to hear.
I've been in hibernation, so I'm going to learn from you guys what happened.
No. Pratesh.
What I miss.
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Did we all know about it? 360?
No.
I'm gonna watch.
I watched it. Okay.
I was waiting
the Cardano
for
360.
Yeah, it was like Cardano 360 Lite. It was. They were.
Well, I got to give props to David likes crypto. Man, if I could crank out a hour and a half video in 5 minutes, geez, that's got to be like the marathon for Cardano content. That's pretty awesome. I got to give him props for that. Yeah, he's really good.
Absolutely amazing.
Can we just get him to say it differently? That's my one pet peeve. Cardano.
It's with love. It's with love. We're saying
I love him. So everything else is like so spot on that it's just jarring to me.
I'm not joking. I woke up in the morning. I was watching his 360 mini that he made just to see how he recapped everything, and he was like, Cardano, and I was like in the middle of pouring my tea, and I was like, what? There it is again. So yes,
I actually kind of like it because I know that he must know that it's wrong at this point, but he's like standing by his guns. He works for IOG, right? So he knows what it is, but I get it. It's fine.
Right? So did I hear? So we're in white, and then we have 2 shades of purple coming up. Is what I'm gathering, right? And it's light purple, then dark purple, and we're looking. From what I gathered, and I'm sure Patrick has things to say about this. I have opinions on this too, but what I've gathered is that technically we could fork at the end of August. That doesn't mean, and we can maybe say hello world.
Tentative.
Yes, right.
Tentative.
I'll bet you one unsig right now that we don't fork.
That was awesome.
Oh God, there it is. Patrick, what beer is that? What number is that? Just side note.
What number of unsigs?
No, what number of beer?
It's the second one.
Okay,
I only have
so
2.
we're gonna
unfortunately.
circle back to this when he gets to like 4, and then we'll see what he raises the bet.
I
to.
don't have that many. I have to check out my cabinet and see
Oh
what
my
other
gosh,
stuff I have.
that's amazing.
Yeah.
So basically, that's what I like. Right, Charles said. Yes, tentatively we can fork at the end of August. But again, if you're really looking at it, even if we do the DApp connector to actually have some type of rich contracts that can do more than just Hello World, that's not built. The tooling isn't built out yet at this point, right?
I will also bet you that Alessandro is faster with the DApp connector than Yoroi.
Oh! Challenge has been lit.
Dang.
Oh, dang!
Yeah,
Shots fired. Shots fired.
I mean, honestly, it's like Yoroi has been a little bit slow in the, like last week, so I think it's like a safe bet.
Dude, real estate said I bet 2. He has 2 unsix. He's willing to bet.
Ooh.
I heard somebody jokingly say, "Is it just because they want to?" Charles wants to win the bet on that ETH thing, where it's like when they're going to launch smart contracts, quote unquote.
I mean, he has 2 more months for that. The ETH thing said like I think October or something. So
thanks, Grant. I'm really glad that you think this is awesome or actually hilarious. Yes, we have a fun combination. So Patrick is really like, he has all the zingers, but he says them so nonchalantly in his very German way, where he doesn't give any facial expression, and then we all kind of go, "Oh crap, he said it. We were thinking it, but he said it though." So
I'm sorry.
don't apologize.
Yeah.
All right, Pratesh, thoughts on anything else from the 360 event? I personally, side note, I'm excited about the advancements with Atala Prism and their rollout. Because again, I'm an educator, right? So I know, at least in the States, I know how the education system works, and it's massive and it's bulky. And to get anything done, it takes an act of Congress, literally, to get things implemented, right? And so to hear that they're already at a point to where they can start selectively with the specific schools implementing this, it'll move fast at that point, right? So they gave a date for that, and that made me really, really happy. So
what was it? It was 5 million students, right, in Ethiopia.
5 million students and educators, which to me, I think is pretty amazing, right? Because if you think about it, they're choosing to lock in a solution at least for 10 to 12 years, especially, and now they're starting with the higher grade levels, right? They're starting with like 9th, 10th grade school. This is American education system here, right? But they have like 4 years left in the system to start, right? But then they're very quickly going to be moving it back to the lower grades. And so pretty soon, I would say if they're a small country, it's nimble, they can move quickly, right? So theoretically, they should be able to implement this once they get the first pilot program. They'll probably run it for either a semester or a year with the number of schools to make sure things work and they know what tools they actually need. And as soon as that's done, they'll probably implement it with the rest of the schools after they're comfortable with the test pilot.
Yeah, it's exciting. And, tying into that as well is, I don't know if it was covered much in the 360, but what they're doing with World Mobile, with the whole idea of connecting the unconnected. You've got Mickey Watkins. He's the CEO behind this company. IOHK or IOG even invested 10% within this company. And they're pretty much creating this open source hardware to create telecom infrastructure. They're starting in Tanzania. And it's like this, it's almost like an idea of having a stake pool, right? With this World Mobile token, right? You get to operate this node. I'm incredibly excited for that, because what happens when you bring billions of people onto this platform using something like World Mobile? I mean,
Ritesh,
I
have a question for you about the World Mobile stuff. I think it's super exciting as well. And I know you probably don't like to give financial advice, but would you advise me to invest into the World Mobile token?
I like where your head's at, Patrick. I really do.
Also, something to consider here before you answer is that World Mobile is actually going to be direct competition for Starlink which I think is very interesting because
That's a good
Starlink
point.
is like the thing, and I think that Starlink might make World Mobile completely irrelevant at some point.
Yeah, how are they competing? Because Starlink is low Earth satellites that have worldwide coverage, and I assume WMT is like
on the ground
cellular tower.
Exactly.
Yeah, they're actually repurposing the existing hardware from like the Cat 5 cables that are running in, and they're actually essentially piggybacking a wire. It's not a wireless router, right? It's not like it's a. I don't really understand the tech. It's not a mesh network.
It's like a Raspberry Pi. Yeah, you got a Raspberry Pi inside of some type of Cat 5 connection.
It's VoIP. I mean, I'm gonna be a little bit skeptical here, right? Like I lived in India when Jio rolled out, and Jio was one of the first like voice over IP or like fully data centric cellular providers. Mukesh Ambani, who's like the richest guy in India, they did this, and then the CTO of that company moved to Japan, where he helped roll out like the first truly new wireless carrier in years. Guys know what an MVNO is?
No,
I'm not sure.
In the States, what it would be AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile.
Oh, like a service provider.
Verizon are the main ones, but then you have Virgin Mobile or Boost Mobile.
Yeah,
those guys are called MVNOs. They're like virtual network operators, right? And they basically sublease. They're not subsidiaries because they're buying in bulk cell phone plans from AT&T or whoever, and then reselling it. So they're purely like a marketing and customer service organization, right? But the cellular industry, telecom industry, is a really like complicated, difficult thing to do, and it's very cutthroat and very like low margin because you need like hundreds of millions of customers to make money at it. Like, I would really advise anyone interested to answer Patrick's questions in MWT to really do a lot of due diligence in what the telecom sector is. Like, I'm not saying it's a bad investment, but I know that I don't know enough to know that another random cellular service company has any chance of succeeding anywhere in the world. Like, I
agree. I think it's very.
I'm a little bit sketched out by it, but that's just me.
It's like I come from like my family owns a internet service provider business here in Germany, in like local southern Germany, which is where people are very badly connected. And the truth is, like, even here in Germany are getting under heavy pressure, not only from the German government, because they want to have fiber glass everywhere, of course, but also Starlink and other competitions. So I think it might be very hard for World Mobile to actually succeed. But I'm sorry. I asked Pritesh this question, and now I answered it myself, and Alex answered it himself too. So please, Pritesh, give us your opinion.
No,
did you invest?
I didn't. I wish I could, honestly. I mean, even if it was just a little bit. I live in the US, so there's that. Yeah.
But
I forgot.
Yeah.
For the American, you're saying the MWT thing, but like, just look at Masayoshi Son, the SoftBank guy, trying to like turn around Sprint or T-Mobile or any of these like giant, like telecoms is a very messy business, and it's to be a disruptive player without I don't know enough about it, but it's a very complicated thing.
Alex, to that note, there's only two things in this world that are going to make something like that happen. Either the right people, or you have the appropriate amount of money, right? They don't have the appropriate amount of money, so they need to know the right people to be able to make at least in that particular very small region to be a viable option. And I don't know if they do. I would love it if they actually put out some like KPIs on the website to know here's what success looks like to us. And give us some tangible.
I'm going to give a hot take. I think the Africa strategy is wrong. Patrick doesn't have a monopoly on controversial things.
Oh my God! Actually, you are amazing. I didn't expect somebody to say this, and I had this talk with my. Sorry to interrupt. You can continue.
No. Continue.
I had this talk with my father like the past few days. And he's been getting into Cardano, and he's also been involved in some of the development of NFT Maker Pro, because he's like a professional software developer, and he supports me in many ways. And he actually said that going for Africa is the dumbest thing Cardano is doing.
It's stupid. It's a stupid thing because you need to have connections, and connections don't scale horizontally across governments. So like here's my interpretation of what happened in Ethiopia. All this shit's been going on for years and years. Like inevitably you have to grease some palms to get something to flow. Like that's just how it happens, right? And that doesn't mean you're wrong. Like I believe that the Ethiopia deal, what they did is the way it was landed is they gave it away for free. They're not charging to build it out. And so that's not to like shit in the Cheerios. Like it's a good thing that they're doing, but you can't, again, it's just not a scalable thing to deal with every nation state in Africa. And so I am definitely on Team India, where I say you have a single nation state that represents 1.2 billion people or whatever it is, a significant chunk of people. There's more IT infrastructure in place. There's more, you have a single market to address. And so all this energy that you're putting into like getting to know the government officials and taking them out over years and years and years, like that's an investment in time that can, pay dividends. And all this effort into Ethiopia, you're hoping, the play is, and how I could be wrong is, once Ethiopia is an example, other people will kind of climb on board and that could happen. But I mean, anyone who's done business in any of these kind of places, you know how it works. And it's kind of naive to think that technological brilliance will win you government contracts in this part of the world.
Whoa. It's not just that part of the world. What are you talking
about?
In
any part of the world, but
in any part of the world.
I mean, North America has what, 3 main countries? Well, I'm going to ignore Central America and the Caribbean for a while, but like Africa has a ton of countries.
I think 52, 56. I think.
Yeah,
right.
And these countries are extremely unstable. I think that's like the main point, that you can't really rely on any of like most of these countries.
Political change happens so quickly. Yeah. The party switches, and what happens whenever a party takes control? They dunk on everything that the previous administration had done, regardless of its viability, because they just need a poster child project that represents what they're doing. And they need the previous administration's projects to fail. Like, that's just how it works. I just don't think it's a very...
Whoa. Alex is dropping some truth bombs on this.
That's amazing, Alex. I didn't expect you to actually drop these bombs now. I knew that you're pro India and you're totally right. Oh my God.
Oh
I married a Bangladeshi woman, so I gotta represent. It's so funny the Olympics are going on now. She's like, do you realize what you have to do to be an Olympic athlete from India? Like, there's no support anywhere.
Oh,
anyway, that's probably true.
So, Pritesh, what's your take on it? I'm just curious because you do a lot of video centric work dealing with what things that are things that are going on in Africa and what we're doing in the community to help that particular
Yeah. I mean, learning from Alex's perspective, I mean, that's just like it makes a lot of sense. It definitely does. I think it's a long game. And Alex, to your point, it's like the technology, right? That's one thing, but then the legislation, like having to go in and deal with these governments, like that's exactly, you make a perfectly valid argument. So it's a long game. I feel like I don't think they're going to expect to see any results within the next 2, 5, 10, 20 years. I don't know. I really have no idea. It could take a long time before we actually start to see.
Alex, I agree with that. I mean, it's a good and noble vision. I do, and I hope it succeeds. I'm not rooting for it to fail. I'm saying that maybe it needs some addressing. And here's the other thing. I've worked in R&D for maybe 8 to 10 years, and I've worked under a variety of like CTOs and chief design officers. And it's very easy to say, like, set some large ambitious goal and say, like, that's where we want to go. We want to deploy AI, ML, and making widgets or whatever the thing is. But I don't think like the real visionary thing is to set some audacious goal. I think it's breaking down that audacious goal into what is the next best, what is the step that I can take in what direction that gets me closer to that goal, right? Does that make sense? So like there's the vision, but yeah, the breaking it down into like, what is the best use of my time over the next N days or years, whatever, that will get me closer to that goal. And I'm just saying, for worldwide domination and Cardano and use cases and all this kind of thing, I don't know that is necessarily the best first step to
No,
take. I think there are
but
other governments that would
well,
be.
I think we do have to give them the benefit of the doubt and the credit due where they have formed partnerships with some of these governments, like with Ethiopia. You know, they've got 5 million students already, or whatever it was, with the Tala Prism. I mean, that's a step in the right direction. You know, like what Ryan was
sure.
saying with KPIs, it's like that's measurable. You know, you have something
It's
that
measurable, but look at the amount of effort and intensity. Like John O'Connor's been in that country for how many years?
I will
So
say
that
this.
number of years divided by this project, was it worth it? I think you can be a big objective. Like how many projects could you have in another country if you had spent the same amount of time and energy focusing on another country?
I don't know. I think it's a valid question to be
it's
asked.
very valued. Yeah.
You know, I will say this. If you look at the general consensus of the crypto space, you can tell this past year there's been a shift. We're going to Africa to help these countries out. Have you noticed that with a lot of the Ethereum projects and some of the Bitcoin maxis, they're going, these countries need this technology all of a sudden. And I know for at least I'm sure that people in the Cardano community are going, what the heck, yo? That's been Charles's thing since day one. What the heck? Why are you jumping on our bandwagon now? Get out of our backyard, folk. I mean, so I think it's very interesting to watch the pivot of where people are, because what's happening. They thought they can go to the first world countries and go, look at what we got. And people in the crypto space are so altruistic to a fault. They think the world should function like X, Y, and Z, but they do not stop to consider, I have to operate within the confines of the system that I currently function in, and I have to make changes to get us to that place. They're not going to wake up and do this because it's not advantageous for the current system, right?
Yeah.
They're not going to want this. And so they tried to go get this stuff implemented in certain countries, and they hit a brick wall. And so they went, oh crap, we don't have enough money in our war chest. We don't have enough political influence to make people pass the appropriate legislation to let us get a foothold. Where do we go now? And I think that's what we're seeing is that, whether or not that's where your energy needs to be. But I will say, I do think that we might have been smart for not trying to beat our head against a wall that is legalese and not having enough influence to really break into a first world nation state. Maybe. I don't know. I don't know.
Just to clarify, developing or not, whatever you want to call it, those countries, yes, I totally agree on that part of the hypothesis. My point is that there's more than just Africa. There's ASEAN, the Southeast Asian bloc, which would be a very interesting play to make. Lots of Grab and these other like Malaysian, Indonesian startups, like places that have something kind of like the EU, where ASEAN is this like the Southeast Asian equivalent of the EU kind of, and they're not as tightly knit, but they do have some kind of like ideas about working together and having international kind of treaties and cooperation, right? Where I'm saying that kind of investment might go, and South America, right? Places, the coolest thing about crypto to me is, what was it, Cyprus, and these places that have given you haircuts in your bank account. You know what I'm talking about? Like you had 100 euros and then tomorrow you have 90 euros.
Oh,
they literally reduce the amount of money in your bank account. That's called a haircut, terrifying. Right? Like, and that shows like, that to me is a very kind of powerful example of why crypto has strength, because no third party can go in and do that to you unless they have a 51% attack, but separate kind of issue, right?
I get your point, right? I think you're saying where can we have the most bang for our buck, and I think you're and it's completely appropriate and valid as someone has stake in the game and is dedicated to this protocol being successful and adopted, right? To ask and go, hey, you know what? This has been our goal for the past 5 years. Great. Should we potentially take a litmus test of where we are? How has our resources been allocated? What results have those resources yielded? Are we okay with those results? If not, then maybe we should adjust. Maybe.
And I'm not saying to abandon the project. I'm not saying to abandon, like,
yeah.
And maybe are you guys some sunk cost fallacy? Like just because you've put $1 into an investment doesn't mean you should put another dollar. Like it's a very common thing in R&D. Like we've put hundreds of $millions into this project. We got to see it through. Like no, like if you have another project that's a better project, you would be insane to put another dollar into something that is like in trouble or going to fail. And I'm not saying it's going to fail. I'm just saying here's my problem with it. Not that we're doing Africa as Cardano, and I'm saying continue doing that, but I don't think it should be the sole focus or the not. I know it's not. Like they're doing stuff in Georgia, they're doing stuff in the different stands of the Central Asia kind of thing. But even just from like a messaging and marketing perspective, I think it's useful to open up, or maybe it's incumbent on the community to kind of drive things in South America and India and let IOG focus on Africa initiatives and that kind of thing, right? Like that might be another play. But
I mean that's the point, right? Charles' vision is Africa, and I totally understand why Africa is the continent with the most potential by far. But the potential lies like probably not only 20 years in the future, but like 50 years in the future. And Charles wants to fix this and help this continent, and that's like the biggest challenge you can possibly do at this moment. And it's like taking the hard way, which is Cardano's usual approach. We're always taking the hard way. We're going through the peer review stuff. We're taking freaking Haskell, which everybody hates except for Alex, and it's true. And Alex and
I'm here for this. And I literally joined Cardano because of Haskell. That's like the reason.
That's the weirdest take ever. But okay, fair enough. And we always take the hard path, and if it's successful, it's gonna be so much more successful than any other path, I think. But you're absolutely right. Africa shouldn't be the sole focus for Cardano as a whole. I think it will be the main focus for IOG, but IOG isn't Cardano. And I think that in the coming 5 years or so, most of the big announcements, or not even big announcement, but like big developments will actually not come from IOG. I mean, they still develop most of the backend and technology and stuff, which is super important. But the Cardano Foundation will play a huge role, I believe, and in just getting also to the just companies which operate around the world, which operate not only in first world countries but also in second world countries, and then get them to adopt Cardano to some degree.
Patrick, in that vein, I really, really personally, I want to see the foundation taking a much more active role, and maybe they're doing a lot behind the scenes that we don't necessarily know about right now, and if they are, fantastic. However, I would love to see them be a little bit more not that they're not being transparent, but maybe just have a little bit more communique with the entire community, just to let us know, hey guys, just to let you know we're getting stuff done. And I get it, if you're in talks, you can't talk about being in talks.
You can't talk about it. It's unfortunately, I've only spent half a year in like such a company, and I already know that it's like so freaking hard to talk about it.
You can't talk about the specific companies, but you can say like, we have plans to do things like this, or these are our goals, or there's more than the specific engagement.
But they've upped their game in that direction, right?
Wait,
I mean,
stop.
they have like a month. Yeah.
Wait. There's a chat in the comment that they said, so far I don't think I've seen Pratesh take a swig of his drink, if he even has one.
Pratesh? Oh, what?
You just got called out, Pratesh. Dude.
I got called out. I'm on beer number 2. I'm on beer number 2. Here we go. Cheers.
Salute.
Yeah, that's so true.
He didn't take a drink of it either, did he?
No, I'm listening to all this stuff. You guys are on fire.
He's so diplomatic. It's absolutely amazing.
If you guys think about some low-hanging fruit, though, we're talking a lot about what's going on with Africa taking forever, and it's probably not the best use of time capital. Central America comes to mind. You guys know that which country was it just accepted Bitcoin? Was it El Salvador? Just accepted Bitcoin as legal tender. I think Charles was even saying that he would want to have a conversation with the president. Things like that. I mean, that could go a long way if they're already starting to ship these Bitcoin ATMs. I mean, how hard would it be to like create some type of infrastructure for Cardano? Just send that
I
over
mean,
and
remittances are like a huge thing, and like
yeah,
as someone who's been back and forth between the US and just think about all like the Central American, South American immigrants in North America, right? Like that's a killer app. Like how many millions of dollars flow through what do you call it, Western Union to the Philippines and South America,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's such a farce, and it's so what really pisses me off about a lot of Web 2.0 or old fintech companies is how they take advantage of people at like the bottom rungs of the ladder, right? Like places like if you don't have a bank account, you got to pay, like 15 or 5 to 15 bucks to cash a check,
it's
right?
ridiculous.
And if like you're working as a migrant worker in the States and you're working your tail off at jobs like most people don't want to do in the States, and then you got to pay out of your hard-earned money to like Western Union to send it back, like that's silly. And then when it goes back, the problem is like it gets turned into like a worthless local currency that is going through hyperinflation. Like crypto solves developing country problems where the government can haircut your money or print tons of money and devalue your bank account, and you got to go through private companies.
Duckpool just mentioned Venezuela.
Yeah, using
Exactly.
Dash.
Yeah.
Right. Alex, you just described America too. What are you talking about, dude? 52% of our total circulating supply of dollar bills in our have been printed within the past 3
Money
years.
printers go burr.
You aren't just joking, dude. Jerome Powell needs to hit the brake on hot and heavy.
Well, he can. I mean, they painted themselves into a corner. I mean,
fractional reserve lending, dude. It's where it starts. At least in the States, man. Banks, they're ridiculous. Ridiculous.
That's the funny thing to me about what you guys were talking about with the infrastructure bill. I told my mother-in-law, who's an Indian woman, right, from Mumbai. She's telling me, oh, the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, is banning crypto again or something like that, right? I'm like, look,
it's like an annual thing, right?
Crypto doesn't need India. India needs crypto. And I right now the US is the dominant, power, or was for a while. And I can kind of see that the writing on the wall, but I don't think any country, like crypto doesn't need any country. All the other countries in aggregate together. And even like, I'm not a fan of Russia, but look at how eager Russia is. Russia's playing a very smart card by like trying to encourage crypto adoption because it basically undermines the US dollar. Right. So the US can either get on board and try to circumvent that, or they can be outplayed in chess by the Russians, who are figuring out that the US dollar is not going to, the petrodollar is not going to be a thing. Like
you said it. You said it, sir. 1973. What the heck? We got the gold standard. I don't even know. Side note. All right. You just opened this can of worms. I want to talk about this for a hot second. This is, Pritesh, I know you and myself have a little bit more skin in the game when it comes to the potential legislation that might or might not be passed, but it won't be implemented until 2023.
Guys, where should I get my second passport? Let us know in the chat.
Please.
Portugal. I'm telling you. Actually, no. Portugal. You need. Here's the thing about Portugal. You need to show like 700 euros of passive income. If you're an ADA, you might have some passive income, and crypto gains are not taxed for the time being in Portugal. It has beautiful weather, it has beautiful people, it has beautiful food. Cost of living is quite low.
Have you ever been to Portugal?
No.
Patrick, don't inconvenience my argument.
I'm sorry, but beautiful weather, beautiful people, beautiful cities.
I lived in India for 3 years. I had been there maybe for a few weeks. Like I can deal, right? And so what am I trying to say there? I do think, I mean, people were talking about Puerto Rico for a while as like crypto capital or whatever, right? Because of U.S. taxes and different things like that. But I think Portugal is going to have a come up in the next couple of years.
So, okay, so I have to give props to Big Pay. He posted a video today, and it was mentioning, after the big long tweet storm that happened. I can't remember the guy who posted it, but just breaking down the legislation and whatnot. And I'd already looked at it, but everything Pay said in this video, I completely agree with. It's stupid, right? We have an infrastructure bill of $1 trillion in America, and though they're trying to raise funds to help fund this and offset the cost by making the taxes more efficient, by requiring a KYC from a miner or a node validator or a validator to for any American citizen that's staking to a stake pool, which you all know on this channel, but it's literally impossible to do that. You cannot do that. And so what does that leave you as a stake, an SPO in America? You either have to move or you technically can't be running.
You can't even move. This is a false thing, because as an American citizen, you are subject to global taxation.
I mean, this
America
is true too.
and Eritrea are the only two countries in the world that, regardless of where you live, you have to pay taxes, or you have to file taxes to the U.S. government.
So,
Right,
so
Eritrea
Alex,
is
something
you're
which is being
you're
discussed
saying
in
you'd
the
have
next-
to renounce your citizenship.
You have to
right?
renounce your
Yep.
citizenship.
Yep.
Done.
Yeah. Look, a nomad capital dude. I watched this channel.
Nomad capitalist. He's such a
Right.
douche, but I like him.
Yeah, I don't know him, but the concept of relinquishing my American citizenship, at first was kind of like, but now
Somebody's
it's
got
like,
to stay and fight. That's not me, but that's
Right.
I mean, if that's you, go for it.
But I will say, like Charles was in Washington this past week, and we know why. That was one of the reasons. So my thing is that we've got to get past this. My camp, your camp,
Yeah,
whatever.
crypto needs to come together, because even crypto in aggregate, I'm sorry, like Wall
Right?
Street is
We're
going to
still
beat
tiny.
you guys.
We're still tiny. Like crypto in and of itself, the entire market cap is what 1.4 trillion. Like,
But again, I've had this theory. It's actually interesting. In a Japanese university, in a film studies course, they talked about like the Vietnam War was the beginning of the decline of America. Like, America hasn't won a war in like 50 years, guys. Like, you lost to Vietnam and Iraq and Afghanistan. Like, what world power can't beat some gorillas on the other side of the world? It's not a powerful country anymore, and the writing has been on the wall for a while.
well, I will say, as an American, the American dream that's sold to
American
Americans,
nightmare.
Well, it's not it's not what it's sold. Like that American dream was on a single income you could afford a house and support a family of 4. That is so far from what what we have at this point in time, right? And what really ticks me off as an American citizen is that I feel like my government is complacent because the people at the top aren't accountable to their constituents at this point, or they just don't care because they're still making money. And so they don't care to be ahead of the curve on some of these things. So what they want to do is they want to, hamstring it until they can figure out a way to make money off of it and position themselves before they legalize something. Right. And so we are not allowed to participate in a quote free market on the international scale, which is, if you think about it, it's kind of funny because that's antithesis to the quote American dream of at least with capitalism, a free market, right? It's only.
I mean,
free.
but look, it happened in GameStop and AMC, right? Like the free that to me, I'm not a fan of GameStop and AMC. I fundamentally believe they're flawed companies, and I don't believe the hype. But people should have the freedom to like drive into a brick wall if they want to. If they're not hurting anyone else, like you can drive your car off a cliff if that's what you want to do, and I don't believe in that nanny
Don't
state.
do it.
Yeah, don't do it. Jory said they're too old. I agree, Jory. They are too old. If they don't know how to use their freaking cell phone, right? Why do we have politicians making decisions on tech when never literally they don't know how to use?
I'll tell you why.
Things.
I'll tell you why, man. In America, it's a uniquely American thing that almost all politicians are lawyers. There's a few doctors every now and then.
That's
but
not so uniquely American.
No, but I mean, you look at other countries. I mean, even Germany.
Germany has a lot of lawyers.
A lot of lawyers, but in America, like, what would you say the percent of people who have a law background is? Like constitutional law or whatever. Like, I'd say over like 70%.
80,
out of my
70,
ass.
yeah. I'd say
No.
the same for Germany.
Really,
No.
for Germany?
Are you asking like total American citizens?
No, not American
total
citizens. In the government.
Oh, in the
Who are the
government.
congressmen? Who are the
Oh.
senators and legislators? The
Okay.
legislators mainly have like a legal background. And in China, the ticket to becoming a Politburo committee member is an engineering degree. So that's why China, I'm not a fan of China, but that's why they've built like thousands of kilometers of high-speed rail all over the country. And like China has just totally like blown up. And I'm scared of it. I don't like it, but the US government doesn't have to run the way it's run. It doesn't have to be the way it is. But like that's this is what happens when you just put a bunch of lawyers into power. And you were talking about it, right? Like lawyers gonna lawyer, right? It's the only they have this hammer in their hand. They're gonna do that.
But you know what? Like that's actually too simple. Like if you really think about it, really think about it. Money talks. Money talks in all aspects. Crypto and getting in office. And you need to know the right people. Well, here's the deal. When a corporation can function as an individual, when PACs, right? Large entities that they have their interest groups. They have direct access to congressmen and congresspeople. The banking industry has direct access to any senator, any congressman that they would like to have, right?
Yeah.
Well, guess and that's the thing, right? So and they are.
How is crypto, even all of crypto together? How are they going to fight J.P. Morgan, Goldman Sachs?
That's the thing, right?
All these things. Like I don't think they can.
Well, not in the current iteration,
States.
right? No, not right now, anyways. And but that's getting back to our like original point, right? Is that we cannot be so segregated in the crypto space. We need to. It's funny, but it's almost like I really wish we had a DAO for the entire crypto space, and then some type of entity that could go to bat for any crypto project that has some clout behind it, that's not a scam, right? That the entire industry could choose to fund the lawyer to go and litigate for them.
Ryan, go where you're treated best. You might have heard that before, no?
Yeah, I have.
Nomad capitalist.
That is some nomad capitalist stuff right there.
Go where you're treated best, right? Like you can,
I've never heard of this guy.
He's very funny. The point being, like you can. I understand people have a loyalty to a country and to the thing, but like people should also realize like nation states are a relatively recent development. Like nation states did not exist for thousands of years. Germany as a country, the reason Germany is like when did Germany as a state come together and like get over their principality and all these little independent states thing? You know what I'm talking about, Patrick? Give me some German history.
It's called the Weimar Republic.
Yeah, like 1900s, right?
1900, yeah.
So Germany as a country didn't exist in the 1800s, right? It was all these little like
I think late 1800s
or whatever right, this kind of thing. And so people who have it in their head that nation states are somehow important, like they got it twisted, right? Like it's not a foregone conclusion that nation states are the way to live and to govern. And this gets into a little bit the unsig Cardano mirror thing. Like laws which are made by nation states are a very temporal thing. They haven't existed for laws have existed for a long time, Hammurabi, whatever. But the nation states that make them are a temporary phenomenon. They come and they go. And it's not a foregone conclusion that like these are very important or significant.
He's done open the can of worms. He mentioned mirrors on this channel, and oh man. Side note: I want to get juicy for a second. You all, I'm sure you all have opinions on this. So let me see. Cryptocurrency venture capitalist. What's his name? Dan. Did you see his tweet today? So he tweeted, he's like, Cardano is going to flip Ethereum. It's inevitable. I've been quiet on this, right? But then promptly, Benjamin Cowan into the cryptoverse came back and he's like, in my own humble opinion, not that it matters, but no, never. And then they went back and forth about these things, and it was like, first user. Was it first to market?
Honestly, okay, juicy take here. I think it doesn't matter at all what these random weird YouTube channels think about Cardano or Ethereum.
Except for what
like, I've never watched a single video. Yeah, Pritesh is the only relevant YouTuber, of course. I've never watched a single video of both of these channels, and they might be super nice people, but only because they have 200,000 followers or whatever amount of followers they have, it doesn't make their opinion much more valid. I mean, that it's just people
it's
tend
funny.
to flock to these accounts, and like I really couldn't care less about the opinion of some random investor on some random YouTube channel. Like, who the fuck cares, honestly?
I agree with Patrick.
Tell him.
I think
Tell him,
it
Patrick.
is funny. I think Ben, I actually paid for a Cryptoverse subscription for 1 month, right? Just to see what it was about. It was fine. I didn't really use it. I was too busy doing other stuff, and I stopped trading, so I didn't care. But like I like his channel for the kind of like it's the only financial crypto channel that I even bother to watch every now and then. And having said that, I think it's just very wrong about the thing. Like, I do see a day where Cardano will flip Ethereum, and not even Ethereum, Bitcoin. And I wasn't so bullish about it until recently. You want to say something, Ryan? Go for it.
Yes, I do. I got text. I just read it. I want to get your thoughts on this, because this gets a little technical, and I know the two of you have a little bit more technical chops, and Mike can give a little insight to this.
I feel a little bit bad because Pritesh has been quiet for so long.
I know he has been. Pritesh, what the heck, man?
Pritesh, you gotta drink your liquid courage.
I'm using my listening skills, guys, and I'm on beer number 3, so I'm just pounding the beers as you guys. Once we
halfway
get to
through
beer
my
number 6, I'll start talking a little bit. You know, I got to go through the 6-pack first.
I'm halfway through my bottle of wine. You hurry up. Okay, so he said, all right, I can read it to you real fast. All right, he said, Ben, in reference to Dan, said, I like Cardano, but it really has no chance to pass Ethereum in my also harmless opinion. To which Dan said, I'm curious why you think there's no chance, especially so early in the game. First mover for ETH or something else? And this is what Ben said, and this is what I want your thoughts on. He said, I think Cardano is further behind Ethereum than a lot of people think. It will likely eventually have to resort to using rollups, which Ethereum is way ahead in. I know Cardano has centralized solutions like state channels, Hydra, but ETH has had those for years and no one uses them.
Not true.
Okay. All right. Gentlemen.
Pritesh, he's got
it.
Yeah. Okay. So state channels being centralized in what way if they're going to be built up top of the stake pools, right? Like the stake pools are going to be what's operating these Hydra heads, right? So I don't understand why he thinks that it's not possible for Cardano to flip Ethereum. I don't know. I feel like it's a very maximalist mentality, in that he probably has some heavy ETH bags. I think that's probably what he was saying with that tweet.
He is a big Cardano supporter. I mean, like, and he's been tweeting about Cardano since like 3 cents, 5 cents. Like,
but yeah, before here's the deal. I mean, anybody on my channel knows, like, I'm friends with Ben. I think he's a great stand-up guy.
Say hi to Ben for me. I really love him.
No.
He's cool.
But I do think that in reference to his comment on Hydra channels and then roll-up solutions, right? I do think that we have people on here that could potentially give a rebuttal to that, and I really want to kind of hone in on that. You know, we can argue first mover advantage, is that really worth anything, right? Because you have the MySpaces and then the Facebooks, prime example, right? But then you also have just because the tech is better doesn't mean it's going to be adopted. So you've had two narratives that show both different scenarios playing out. So you know, that's subjective. We don't know what's going to actually happen. We think our tech is better, great. But if it's going to be adopted, we don't know, right? But we can give direct rebuttals to state channels and the roll-ups. And I would love to actually hear something from you techie folk on this call.
Yeah, I mean, with the Hydra heads, I mean, that was pretty much how I feel about it with the stake pools. With rollups, though, I'm not okay. So I'm going to be totally honest with you as far as the ZK rollups and you know, different snarks, all that kind of stuff. I don't have as much knowledge on that as I do with Hydra and understanding how that works. So I'm going to defer to either Patrick or Alex on that one.
I'll go like from first principle kind of thing, like a network that is built on top of finding random hash sequences, which requires, you know, GPUs or FPGAs or ASICs and all that kind of electricity, will always cost more than one that is built on game theory and staking, right? So this whole the reason that Ethereum needs rollups and all these other kind of layer 2 solutions is because it's so expensive to transact in Ethereum. And it goes back to what I've said a few times on a few different places now, is like the NFT space is quite an interesting use case for what happens when you have low transaction fees, right? Like this whole idea that I can mint 31,000 NFTs for 0.17 ADA each, right? Like and sell them then for 50 ADA each. That's a pretty disruptive idea. And the next application that I want to work on is not an NFT thing. It's like a decentralized insurance for Indian farmers or African farmers or this kind of thing, right? And like being able to sell an insurance contract where the transactional cost is, you know, fractions of a dollar,
Microfinance,
right, is so much that allows you to access such a larger audience than the ETH one, where it costs, you know, $50 to $100 to do something on the network, right? And so that you can say it from two ways, right? Like, yeah, we have a proof of stake network, which is fundamentally cheaper to operate and run and more scalable versus theirs, but they have smart contracts. And the only real question to me is, how long are they going to, and it's not my insight or anything, how long is it going to take them to get to proof of stake, which is fundamentally superior and everyone knows it, versus how long is it going to take for us to get to smart contracts? And once you know, we have smart contracts and they don't have staking, it's not even a question of tech stack. It's just a question of cost. And because we have Yella and KVM and all that kind of stuff, all these things are going to be able to port over. And the question is, as a business operator, let's say as someone who's running their thing on top of Ethereum, if I could switch my cost basis to something that costs me $50 to $100 every time I do a transaction to something that costs me 50 cents, like, why wouldn't I? It has nothing to do with, you know, like, just as a business operator, as a small business operator or whatever giant enterprise, like, it's just an obvious choice. You have to be stupid not to.
There's like the counter argument to this, that there are many blockchains which are actually focusing on, for example, NFTs, and they offer like free NFTs or very cheap NFTs, like Flow, for example. I mean, many NFT projects are building on Flow, and Flow is, I think the developers are behind CryptoKitties or something like that. And
they didn't develop the Mila Kunis, the 420 cats, did they?
Stoner cats, whatever.
Yeah, the stoner cats, did they?
Most likely.
Sorry, Ethereum has a problem with cats. I don't know what it is, man. Cats are like the death of Ethereum.
Problem with wallets getting hacked, like the MakerDAO thing, the parody wallet that, like, I don't understand why Polkadot is seriously being considered with their parody hack thing that happened early on, where they lost like 50,000 something Ethereum due to like a bug.
Honestly, Polkadot isn't being seriously considered if you think about it. I think it's very clear if you don't look at CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap is very misleading. But if you look at like the Reddits and stuff like that about the user accounts, it's very clear that there are basically Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Cardano at like the same level. Like,
that's a question. And, why is Litecoin even still a thing at this point? Like, the founder doesn't even own anything. It's a fork. Like it has. There doesn't seem to be many, or if any, use cases for it.
Why is England like the UK the capital of home offices? A home office is like when you get like tens of millions of dollars in a family, you open up like a little small group of people to hold your money. And the UK has higher taxes than a lot of places, but it's stability of running and non-Banana Republic governance that, you know, you and I are trying to get rich, but people who have money are trying to stay rich.
Oh yeah,
and
that's fair.
They have a different set of problems than you and what we have, right?
So they should put it in Digibyte then, right?
So this is all to say, I actually have a use case for Litecoin. Okay. You know what my use case for Litecoin is? In my local crypto exchange, I can't buy Cardano. And if I buy Bitcoin or Ethereum, it costs me a lot of money to transfer it to Binance to buy Cardano. So I buy Litecoin, I transfer it because it's like a kind of neutral, fast, you know, quickly confirms and doesn't cost me a lot of money. And I'm done. I'm in and out. I only have exposure to Litecoin for like 5 minutes.
That's actually incorrect.
When I DCA.
I mean,
well, how's that?
You could buy Bitcoin and then transfer it via the Binance chain. and
Oh.
it would cost you almost nothing.
But I mean, my local
You're going-
exchange does not process.
Does
You
it
mean if I
not?
withdrew? Yeah, if I withdrew the Bitcoin to a Bitcoin wallet and then what through Binance Chain transferred it or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. Okay. Maybe if your local exchange doesn't support it.
So
then
yeah. I mean, my point is, there's a lot of people who buy crypto outside of the U.S. and outside of major European markets, and what you guys have access to is not what we like. There's only like 8 or 9 cryptos that are illegal to buy in Japan.
Okay, so what you're
Right?
saying
And-
is Litecoin is functioning like Ethereum did back in 2017 because you wanted to get
Yeah.
into all the other. Okay, great.
If
Yeah.
I could add something to that
Mm.
too, is that with Bitcoin, so we have 21 million Bitcoin that are ever going to be created, right? So it's
Mhm.
deflationary. The same thing with Litecoin. Maybe in the future, people see that Bitcoin is so unaffordable to the average person who wants something that could act as a store of value. Litecoin, I think, what is
Are you
Litecoin?
saying
Like
could be the
80
silver to Bitcoin's gold?
silver to Bitcoin's gold.
Dude,
Exactly.
I'm just saying.
Exactly.
I think
I-
Digibyte's gonna have a. I think Digibyte's gonna have a thing there, dude. I'm just.
I don't
throwing it
even
out
know what
there.
Digibyte is.
Come
Digibyte.
on,
So,
man.
there's so many of them, though. There's so many.
That's fair. I mean, I can't argue with that. But they are. But like, if you look at their algorithm, right? Like they are. Like they have 5 different mining algos, and then like they're like they're pretty. It's pretty intense. Like they have a great community. Like you cannot argue with that. And I mean, I'm just saying they already have some products out. Like they have a wallet, and then they have an identification system already built.
Is Ryan
out.
really shilling us his favorite?
No,
altcoin
no,
at the
no,
moment?
no. I'm really no.
That's like going on Facebook asking what's
No!
your favorite
I am-
crypto coin.
I am not saying that you need to go buy Digibyte. I'm just saying it's just one of those.
Brian,
it's one
you're
of those community
officially a
coins.
YouTuber. I'm waiting for the dump. Okay.
I have no Digibyte.
Wink, wink when it's time to dump.
I have
Yeah,
no
but
Digibyte.
let's buy Terra or
Oh
I
god.
don't
Oh
know.
god. No. Don't do
Elgo
that.
Rand. Elgo Rand.
No, I
Oh,
own
my
no
favorite
Digibyte.
altcoin is actually Neo.
Okay, I'm just gonna say
I-
this. There is
I
no
only hold
financial
ADA.
advice on this channel. This is not financial advice. I'm just saying we are not financial
This is the
advisors.
weirdest disclaimer that I've seen.
I know. I
people
hate this
use.
display. I think it's so stupid.
It's so
Like,
useless. I don't think
Yeah.
it brings anything to you.
They're winking when they say it, right? Like I
Yeah.
only give financial advice, bitches.
Okay.
Everything I give is
By
financial
answer.
advice.
All right, here you go. Here you go. Full disclosure. Here's my portfolio. ADA, Ergo, AGIX. Done. That's it.
It's close. I have ADA and I have 10 Ergo that I mined when I was having
I'm so
fun playing. setting it
jealous.
up. Yeah.
You
I have a
don't
Mac,
own
I
any
can't mine.
AGIX, Ryan.
I'm not a huge
AGIX are not viable at the moment.
Mine were converted from AGI.
fan. Okay.
Just
Can you
saying.
really? Can you already do that?
Do what?
Can you
Can you convert from
already?
AGI to AGI?
Yeah. Yeah,
You
they
can?
had. Yeah, they. Well, I don't know if it's open anymore, but they had a where you there was a moment or a time period before that you could. If it was in a MetaMask wallet off of an exchange, you could convert.
Are you sure you didn't just buy some?
Yeah, some ETH
Man, I
token.
really hope I didn't. I mean, if I did, then oops.
I feel like I missed the announcement there. I mean, I'm aware of this whole AGI to AGIX bridge,
Yeah,
and
it
maybe
was a-
it's out already. But
Yeah, it
Like
was a
I-
1-to-1 conversion. It's still an ERC20 token though.
no, it shouldn't be.
Well,
That's the whole
one of
point.
them-
It should lock them as ERC20 tokens and then give
And you
you
should
an ADA
get an
token.
ADA.
Mhm.
I
We
would
can talk
really
later.
look into this.
Right,
Yeah.
right. You might.
Well,
you
there
might
you
have been
go.
Cardano mirrored, bro. You-
Oh no!
Oh, no.
He brought the mirror back again, guys.
Yeah.
Oh god, what is-
I'm
what
not
is
gonna
it?
talk about the mirror today. We're just gonna ignore every one of his remarks about the mirror. I
I'm telling you,
really don't
Alex
care.
Alex is like poking there. What is this? SCB? Everyone should be swinging like Mu stake pool is. Oh yeah, I have a swivel
yeah,
chair,
yeah.
man. What? I mean, come on.
No, swigging. He's saying
Oh,
drinking.
swig.
You've had too many swigs to read the swig.
Look, my text is tiny on my screen. Thank you very much. 5.6 inches. Thank you.
Got to get a bigger, 0.75.
Oh, excuse me. I apologize.
I beat you, Ryan.
I salute you.
It's
I salute you.
curious that you remember the number 5.6 in the context that we're discussing.
You know what? It's. I don't know. I got nothing.
It's okay. It's okay. It's how you deploy your utilities, not.
Oh
what
my
they are.
God, Pritesh, moving on to you, Pratesh. Since you're being so quiet over there, Patrick's about to turn to 10 Shades of Red. If we have any questions in the chat, you're going to need to go ahead and type them in there at this current moment in time so we can actually answer them. So I'm just throwing this out there. Side note, there's something else I wanted to talk about. Oh, so real fast, rehashing all this back. Roll-ups, snarks, our Hydra protocol that we're going to potentially be implementing at some point in time, where we'll have 1,000 heads. Each staple operator or SBO node operator runs a head. It's 1,000 TPS per operator. Yada yada yada. 100,000 transactions per second. Right? At least from the start. Thank you, Alex. So, okay. To someone who's an ETH maxi, not Ben, obviously not. He's not an ETH maxi, but to a person who thinks that ETH hasn't figured out and that anything we implement, they've already done, and it hasn't been good enough to this point. What do you have to say to them?
I'll see you in September.
Boom.
Hands off, bro.
Oh, that was
Nice.
like mic drop moment. Okay.
Maybe October. I'm with Patrick. but the point is it will come. Like I'm not worried about it. Like I'm not worried about a month or two or whatever. So.
Unpopular opinion time. Many people are gonna be extremely disappointed when smart contracts hit, because like just launching smart contracts doesn't really give you anything. Like you don't really
There are
care
other
if there
chains that have
contracts.
smart contracts, right?
Yeah,
Like,
you need the applications on there. So it's gonna be interesting, not in September or October or whenever, but it's gonna be interesting in like a year. Like how many dApps do we have in a year, and how many liquids are there, and are the dApps on Cardano really that much better than they are on Ethereum? So September is gonna be amazing, and it's gonna be super hype for us, hopefully. But it's not gonna be like mind blowing or like world changing.
So, Patrick, I mean, you know what's going on. Side note, for anybody who doesn't know this, the Muse stake pool it will still be up and it's still operating and functioning, but you heard it here first. We are rebranding Project Muse to Project Neum. That is N-E-W-M. Now, that is not how you spell a Neum, but that's play on words. I'm a music nerd. A Neum is one of the earliest forms of Western civilization musical notation. It's N-E-U-M-E. That is French in origin, in case you were wondering, any of you etymology persons. And so we are rebranding to that. So just as an aside, we did more due diligence on our research, and we thought, you know what, we're a startup. We're going to alleviate any potential legal loopholes to spend money on that, and we're going to focus on just putting that money towards the building process. But Patrick, because you're an advisor, right? You're one of our advisors in the platform, essentially. And
am I now? It's funny
yes.
because you were supposed to ask me, but suddenly
I thought
Mark asked me, and it was a little bit weird.
Well, listen, it's not like you haven't been already involved in the background. So okay. Yes, whatever. But essentially, us launching Neum is going to be directly correlated with when rich smart contracts go live on Cardano, right? Not just Hello World, because we're going to be, our front end is going to be running on some. It's going to be concatenated tokens, and right, and so we cannot launch until that is fleshed out, right? So our original launch date was December, and now we're pushing that back to January, right? A whole month, woohoo! But still. And it's all contingent on when we get the dApp backend connection to where we can actually have more than just Hello World on a smart contract on Cardano, right? And so, yeah, it's a real thing. That's a big deal. And God, I know that Charles said that IO hired third-party companies to come in and build solutions, right? Already. So hopefully, I'm hoping that when they do launch, unless they have the backend built maybe in-house somewhere where they can play around with this, but having, what I would imagine the bulk of people are expecting, right? The swaps, the DeFi protocols, et cetera, and what I could actually see is when they launch, there's going to be those in-house companies that they brought in, that their products will be ready for launch, hopefully. And then the tooling won't be available for the rest of the community until like the next couple weeks down the road. is what I would imagine might potentially happen. I don't know. Who knows? I think that honestly, I know it might tick off a lot of people that are building on the platform because that's like you get them a head start and they had tooling. But at least from community sentiment wise, just in general, I think that would help alleviate some of it. You promised us X, but we only got Y, right? You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's going to be interesting. All I have to say is I'm glad I'm not the person making the decision for them.
Do you, side note, do you want to hear the German pronunciation for Neume?
Neuma.
Oh, you know it. Oh.
I told you I can read
Whoa.
German. I just have no idea what it says. I'm a singer.
Yeah, okay, I get it. But
Yeah.
that's very good. It was like very nice pronunciation, completely correct. So nice.
Thank you. That means my master's degrees were well paid for.
The vowels are in the right location.
They better be. Yes. So, but yeah, no, that's right. So, you know,
So
I'm with you.
You sung what, like Germanic operas or what? You got
Dude, German leap, man. German leap.
I don't know what leap is. I'm an uneducated fool.
Lied. Yeah, German songs, right? So like, you know, like Brahms,
like 99 Luftballons. Like what
oh my God, we are going down.
Tell me a song that you sung.
Do Dichte Liebe Cycle by Schumann.
What I do is one better. Sing us a song that you
sung. No, no.
Can you say that again real quickly?
Dichte Liebe.
Okay. Dichte Liebe,
yeah. Sorry.
Cool.
Yeah, there you go. Anywho,
sorry.
No, you're fine. Guys, we don't have any questions in the chat right now. Maybe somebody said they sold their AGI/AGIX to buy again when it's a Cardano native token now. Okay. Side note, what do you guys think about I'm gonna ask it. I'm gonna say the dirty word. Meld. MELD. Meld.
I'm vomiting in my mouth a little bit.
Yucky.
Okay. Patrick, would you like to take on a contrarian view there, or are you gonna join us?
I couldn't care less.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's like so irrelevant. I mean, it's so funny when I go on Twitter and there are these huge debates like, oh my God, what do you think about Meld? Oh my God, what do you think about Cardano mirrors? And what do you think about Project X, Y? And like, it's just so irrelevant. Nobody, like, I mean, it's interesting to engage with it for like a day or so, but in the whole like perspective, it's just so completely useless, and it doesn't really matter what I think about Meld. And maybe they deliver and build a cool DEX, or maybe they don't, and in the end it doesn't change anything for Cardano, except if they maybe build the best DEX ever. Who knows? But I doubt it.
Patrick, I didn't mean to cut you off, brother. Can you please read what the duck pool said in German?
Patrick, can I try it, and can you tell me if it's right?
Sure, go ahead.
All right. Ich wollte gar nicht Geiserin werden.
It's so bad.
That's the wine. That's not Ryan.
It's ich wollte, and it's even spelled wrong. Wollte is with 2L.
Okay, great.
Ich wollte gar nicht Kaiserin werden. And it's also not werden, it's werden with an E.
As it's written, did Ryan pronounce it correctly? Not the words that you know are wrong.
No,
like
he's like way too soft on everything.
Yeah, you're not German enough, bro. You need.
I can listen up.
Hairs on your chest.
Listen up. I'm about to like really cut into my Ichlauts and Achlauts.
Shout out to Duckpool, by the way. Shout out to Duckpool.
Yes, thank you, Duckpool.
Definitely.
Oh my. Okay. So side note. No. Somebody made a point, right, in the chat. They said, I would not give up my ADA rewards for this mythical token that might or might not come to fruition. As an American investor, too, side note, you can't legally. Just going to throw that out there.
Go where you're treated best.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I did an interview with the guy. The guy, he actually said it.
I was about to say, yeah, he came out and said it. So kudos to him for actually saying it, but he knows this himself. They can't know where their delegators are coming from. So it's like one of those Americans can't delegate now. Wink, wink, wink.
Yeah.
Right? and
After
and
the fact.
accidents.
After the fact. Yep.
Thank you. Right, and they're sitting here
Go
with
ahead.
how many hundreds of Kaizen. I mean, you and I both sat here and worked out in like 10 minutes. We're like, okay, so you have 5 pools. They're all saturated. They're getting 100% of the total thing. That's like, I mean, we were being generous in our calculations, but it's like 12 million ADA in a year.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that conversation. We were actually doing the math, looking at how much ADA they had delegated. And from what I understood from the conversation I had with the guy that's, heading the operation there, they're making some absorbent amount of money, like millions of ADA. And I'm not sure what DeFi protocol needs that much to start. There's just red flags overall, really, for me. It's a bad taste in my mouth. And I trust my gut a lot of times with these new projects that come out. And I tell you what, when I was having the conversation, I felt very uneasy. So
Oh, dang.
it's a no-go for me, for sure.
Well, like, I think every person on this call right now, you've gone from, I'm new to crypto, you come for whatever reasons, you stay because you realize it's something that's revolutionary, and then all of us here have come to a point to where we're actually building something on top of the very thing that allured us in the first place, right? But in that same vein, you come to the realization that, oh crap, there's a real world. How do you actually, it's the whole side of things that have nothing to do with crypto. It's just business. And what does that entail?
Yep.
Right?
See, the thing is that all of us are stake pool operators. And if we weren't transparent with our delegators, if we left out some pertinent information, there would be recourse. There would be some type of backlash for that.
Mhm.
And if we were to hold them in the same vein, if we were to look at them in the same scope, I think that they're missing something. There's something there. I don't know what it is yet. I feel like it's going to come out eventually, but there's a red flag for me, for sure.
I'll just go ahead and put it on. I'll say it. Somebody's getting paid too much money to not do something that doesn't even exist. That's the only thing that makes sense. Because if you look at legal fees, they do not cost $12 million. If you're only building an exchange, you don't have to go. I know, Patrick, I know. But like, if you're only building an exchange, there's certain things that you're going to have in place, but it's not $12 million worth. Now, for the tech side, if you want to build out things, like I can just speak for Noom, we're building, like developers cost money. And Haskell developers or blockchain in general, it's hot right now. So yeah, they cost a lot of money, especially if you're hiring in a different, like if you're hiring in America
Geography.
versus going right to somewhere else.
Eastern Europe.
Maybe exactly.
Are there Haskell American developer? I thought they were all Eastern European.
Yeah, right. So yeah, they cost money, but if you're going to have a company that's saying we want to take all of your ADA and we want 12.5 million ADA every year, or at least for this 6-month lockup period, you need to have KPIs showing your delegators what's that money. At least give us some allocation of. Be specific ish, but just go. Part of this funding is going to, I don't know, marketing. Part of this is going to R&D. Part of this is going to hire devs. Part of this is going to just pay us a comparable wage so we can continue doing this. Whatever. If that same company went to Catalyst, they would be held to a higher standard than they are right now.
100%.
I think it's quite
that's
funny.
the thing.
Like I first started mining Bitcoin, not the first time I heard about it, but the second time I kind of got into it was in 2012 or 2013 when it was going from 100 to 1,000. And what was a regular thing that would happen is I was actually mining Litecoin and trading it instantaneously into Bitcoin, right? Because
all right, you OG.
Yeah, but it was a regular thing. You'd mine for like Hash Cows or one of these other pools, and they'd regularly get hacked by Russians. And oh, sorry, like 20% of the rewards are not going to be there because like it happened all the time. And so that's one of the most powerful things to me that I hype to people about stake pool operation is I can't affect your rewards, right? Like the rewards I don't distribute them. They're distributed at the protocol level. And that is like a huge advantage over these off-chain pooling solutions which are happening on ETH right now, and what are causing all these rug pulls to happen, where people aggregate 32 ETH together, and then you're actually handing over your keys. Like,
I was about to say, yeah, it's custodial. Like they're giving away ownership.
It's
so
a really
stupid.
and you're trading away one of the main benefits of Cardano, which is that you don't have to trust someone. And I sometimes think it's like a little bit self-inflicted that the Cardano community hypes up personalities and faces so much, and like, like, trust your stake pool operator. It was a very weird thing to me that you have to, like, in Cardano, you almost have to put your face out there to be a stake pool operator. You should be, and you definitely get rewarded for it. And I think, like, well, this is kind of the other side of that coin, is that I prefer things that don't require trust to operate. And once you get people leaning on this kind of trust muscle, other people can exploit it, where they start to do not nice things by taking advantage of people's trust. So
yeah, you're completely right. I want to get back to the whole melt thing for a second. I think people are very aware of that there are two certain types of projects that you can do at the moment to receive a lot of money. And these two projects are basically swaps, so decentralized exchanges, and NFT projects. And there is a reason why there are already like 10 decentralized exchanges announced for Cardano already, because they look at Ethereum and they see Pancake Swap and Sushi Swap and whatever all these swaps are called, and they see them at $4 billion evaluation. And then they go ahead and see like all these NFT projects with like hundreds of millions of dollars evaluation. And that's the other reason NFT projects, why NFT projects boom so hard on Cardano, because there's clear evidence that you can make a shit ton of money with NFT projects. And it's like hurting myself a little bit here, because I'm building an NFT platform and we sold the UN6.
Well,
but it's
Patrick,
it's the truth.
Well, okay, so
but the difference is we delivered something, right? Like, people went into this and they might be financially speculating, but like at the moment of transaction, you got something back within like 30 seconds or so.
For sure. And it's not saying that all NFT projects are evil and like just money grabs. I mean, there are many amazing artists, but if you look like seriously at the NFT space on Cardano at the moment, you can have like very interesting projects like the Spacebuds who introduced NFTs, and us, and Claymates and all these projects. But then you also have 100 Spacebud clones who are literally so simple and stupid that you can see with one eye that it's just a money grab. And then you have like NFT platforms which are clearly which started even before NFTs were a thing on Cardano, which clearly were focused on, we do this whole trading card stuff and we sell NFTs and we build like this Discord community, and not to name any names here, and where you can kind of see that they're mostly behind the money.
Patrick, what beer are you on again?
Patrick, you only had two. I don't believe it.
Yeah,
you only had two.
No,
we're going to get you to the third at this point.
I'm a very honest person, and there's great work being done behind the scenes on many of these projects, and there are great developers. I mean, there are people like Stale and others who are really pushing the limits. But the project itself and many of the main people behind it are very clearly only after the money, or like 90% after the money. And I can see that in many aspects of crypto, and that's totally viable. You can do that if you're mostly about the money and then still deliver a great product. That's how capitalism works. But I wouldn't trust any DEX, especially after seeing the DEX demo on Cardano 360 a few months ago, where they showed a DEX on Cardano literally as an example, a coding example in the demo, thing? Like a tutorial.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Lars's thing.
No, actually not Lars's thing, but it was some other random guy.
Basically It's like
Oh,
was
was
it
it
MetaMask?
Darko or something like that?
Yeah, I
It's
think
like,
it
it was
was
like a
Darko,
Uniswap
yeah.
clone or something.
Yeah,
like
exactly. Uniswap clone. I mean, Uniswap is like how many billions worth, and he said that he made it in like the night before the Cardano 360 show. So that's saying a lot to me about
It's
how
a low
complex these
bar to
decks really
entry.
are. Yeah, exactly. And I mean now there are like decks like Meld and all these like Sunday Swap and all this stuff who are attracting millions. And the only reason why people actually invest so much into them is because they know that all the other dexes on the other chains are also worth like billions and hundreds of millions, and that's like stupidity. And honestly, it's like I don't know, it's complete
Well,
stupidity.
I'll take the contrarian view. To your contrarian view, if you know something is going to be worth billions, even if you don't believe in it, are you stupid for it? Like they're basically doing a GameStop AMC move. Like they
Yeah,
know
of course. I'm not
if
saying
you-
that the people investing are stupid. I
Mhm.
think that I think
it's
that
very
hyping up these
dangerous.
dexes are
I don't I don't like the idea of like markets reflect what the crowd values, right?
Yeah.
And you're basically when you if you know something is not really viable or not really how do you say, like you're just there because you think the price is going up, like it's purely speculation driven, and it's a very dangerous game to play. And I wouldn't, if you want to play that, maybe you do it with like 5 to 10% of your ADA bags, right? And because there's an asymmetrical risk, right? Like you might get a big return. But yeah, what's up, Ryan?
What's up, man?
I have to X-nay that. Listen, this is the same freaking gift that has been repackaged and rewrapped with a brand new bow, right? It's the fresh meat that come into the markets that are new. And ADA is new to the entire DeFi system in and of itself.
Yeah.
And so, like Patrick said, it's low-hanging fruit, right?
Exactly. It's low-hanging fruit. That's the whole point. Yeah.
And I do want to say, before I go on my diatribe really fast, if you will allow me, Alex, but what you and Patrick did though with like Unsigs, those are different. In my opinion, Unsigs is different. It is not a standard, here's a JPEG that I created in the external world. I just minted it and I put it on IPFS and it's just referencing on the chain, yada, yada, yada. That's not what you did. You literally, it's an algorithmically created freaking piece of art. Like that has not been done on the chain. That's not been done on Cardano, to my knowledge.
You're right, but something that I have to crash in here a little bit, because it like a lot of times, and I spoke to a few people about this, a lot of times it sounds like we're like saying that all JPEGs on Cardano and all NFTs that just reference an IPFS link are somehow bad. That's absolutely not the case. Unsigs is very unique. You can only produce like Unsigs or other very specific algorithmically generated art using the system. You cannot go ahead and take some random art piece from some random artist like Da Vinci or somebody and create an algorithmically generated version that fits onto the Cardano blockchain of it. So it's like for 99% of all NFTs, IPFS makes total sense and is the way you should go.
No, I'm just saying to me, your success does not equal detriment to someone else's, right? Like what you created doesn't mean that the other things that exist are less. It just means that yours is so much more different and unique, right? I just want to point that out.
The way that I've done it, and people have come at me like, why do you accentuate what you're doing and disrespect other people? I don't disrespect people. Pritesh is on this call, like I don't disrespect what he's done at all. I mean, you haven't. I'm saying this because you have an NFT collection. You have an NFT collection, right? It's IPFS links, right? It is that's what it is, right? Like, and they're cool. Like, the people have some kind of issue with the language and the way my explanation is like, how do you explain or market color film in a world of black and white? Inevitably, there are going to be some comparisons to the thing that came before it. I learned photography in 2002. I taught myself on black and white film because I liked being constrained by not having color. it doesn't mean that color is always better. It doesn't mean that, on-chain algorithmic art is better, whatever kind of thing. But the last thing I'll add to that is like, how do you paint a song? The argument that I'm making is I'm me personally, I'm less interested in putting other forms of art on to a blockchain, and I'm interested in exploring a blockchain as like a new medium for art. And so,
Well,
yeah,
we've
unless
talked about
you're,
this.
yeah.
No, we talked about this. Right, there's been. I have a friend of mine in Dallas who has a choir, who they released living music on Ethereum. Right, so they minted the parent token.
I pissed off Patrick so much he just walked out.
Nah, he said, "I need a beer."
Bio break.
He either had to take a piss, or
I've had to take a piss for the past half hour. I'm gonna go when he comes back, so that it's not just.
Oh gosh, lightweights, all of you. All right, so. But like the master token, there was a parent token, and that was the main audio file, and then the stems, right, function as child tokens, and they sold the child tokens and the parent token, right? So they sold the master and the stems, and whoever had the stems, if they altered it, it would change the master token in real time, right? And that master token, they actually lived inside of they repurposed a jukebox or a vinyl player and had that piece of music playing nonstop, and it would adjust itself based off of those tokens, right? So that's living in real time. It's a brand new medium. So
Decentralized song composition and
yeah, right. So no, I'm with you. Like what we're doing with Neum is David Bowie, right? Like David Bowie, the artist, he tried to create something called a Bowie bond. He tried to take his piece of music and let different venture capitalist firms own part of his music. They didn't want to do that because his business model didn't fit with theirs, right? It was too volatile for the venture capitalists. But that's what we're essentially taking NFTs to do with ours, right? It's not a JPEG on the blockchain, that's for damn sure. Like we're tokenizing ownership. And we're actually storing our stuff not on IPFS. We're storing it on JSTOR. JSTOR is a publication. That's for educators. StoreJ or storage, right? Like we're literally storing our master files on a node, like people hosting the nodes, right? So, like, yeah, like I think we're growing. It's evolving. NFTs are evolving. I think in the future, like there's already somebody in the Cardano network that is actually hashing and storing his audio files on the chain. And I'm going, that's great for proof of concept, but that is not gonna cut it, because that's too
like
big
like a MIDI file kind of thing, like a note with a duration.
I think it's a WAV file or an MP3, but like he's saving it on the chain. Which
that's weird.
Yeah, it's not efficient, right? And it's great for a novelty aspect, but that's not going to lead to a functioning, like a viable product that can scale, right? Because that's just not, the chain would be stupid amounts of large.
Tag me, Patrick. I'm gonna tap out for a minute. Touch the camera.
He touched it.
Thank you.
There you go. Right. So that's where we're at, right? So. Yeah. Side note, Pritesh, I'm curious. Are you do you have anything to say about like on the architect side of your game that you're building? Like, how is this like on the architect on the back end? Obviously, you're using smart contracts whenever those NFTs interact with bits of code in the game, and they like if they click on like I don't know, a whole bunch of if-then statements, right? But like, how is this? I just don't know. I've never seen that done. Like,
I mean, from what I understand so far, so it's really cool too, Ryan, because we've actually got a couple of Plutus pioneers. What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to create the front end so that it's got an interface in the browser. You play as these characters. What you do is you actually hook up your wallet. What we've seen so far with these browser-based wallets, I want to say that the NAMI wallet from Alessandro it's a great first step in the right direction. As far as a MetaMask type wallet for Cardano, and something that is able to interact with a browser-based application, that's able to like get the NFTs that you hold in your wallet and you can use that in the game. I mean, something like that is pretty much what we're trying to do. So that's kind of like going to be the base layer behind being able to interact with the game with your NFT. And then you've also got the marketplace aspect. So you're not only going to be able to play as these characters, right? You can upgrade your character. You've got a whole bunch of different attributes. You can buy upgrades. I mean, it's just a whole bunch of different things. And then as far as the gameplay aspect of it, so you'll be able to use your keyboard, your mouse, whatnot, everything that you would see in a browser-based game. It's going to be incorporated with these NFTs. So I think it'll be fun. You know, what I've seen so far are a whole bunch of different games. Like there's the Cardano Warriors. The Cardano Warriors is actually pretty cool. I'm not sure if you guys ever played Pokemon. I'm a big Pokemon fan. Yeah, I know, Alex. Yeah, Alex plays Pokemon. Oh yeah, Ryan plays Pokemon.
my wife plays. My wife. Oh my god! Why am I not surprised by that?
Honestly, I'm probably the biggest gamer in the group, and I still haven't played Pokemon. So, you know.
That's an assumption, sir.
Pokemon is my childhood, basically.
There you go.
Yeah.
Hey man, yes, I'm with you. My wife plays Pokemon Go right now. When she goes walking in our neighborhood, she's like, "I just want to get to the gym. I need to scroll." I go, "Okay, sweetie." Patrick, what are you drinking?
Whoa, Patrick, you manned up.
Is that a beer?
Patrick bought an upgrade from your store, Pratesh.
It's actually just
whoa.
It's some
juice.
kind of liquor mixed with lemonade. So
okay. Side note, guys.
Tastes good.
Yes. So we had a question in the chat. And let me see where it was.
I've been looking forward to this question. I have the perfect answer. I'm still like deciding which level I want to answer on. But
okay, I don't know if
I
don't know if this is gonna be your question or not, but we can go to your question in just a second. SCB said, "Where do you see yourself in 5 years?" All you guys.
Okay, can I start?
Yeah,
That's
you can
question.
start.
Yeah. Okay, so I actually have a book about my life in 5 years. Right here.
Wait,
did you write your manifesto?
Is that a biography? Autobiography?
That's actually Dune. It's a book about a guy becoming the emperor of the galaxy, essentially. So that's my goal. I want to become the god emperor of humanity.
You're definitely German. I'll say that.
Am I? Oh no. When I thought about this question, I was wondering, should I put up the Dune book and say that I want to become the God Emperor, or should I actually go ahead and take out this book, which is a Bible? I'm worried what book he's gonna start.
What book is that?
It's a Bible. It's like a very old. It's like over 100 years old, and
wow.
That I say something about becoming a god and stuff. So.
And then people are going to build the Tower of Babel and try to take you down, and you're like, no. Right.
Yeah. I decided to go for the tamer option, which is Dune, and become the god emperor of the world. But
that's a small downgrade. We're okay with that.
Or at least the Cardano NFT space, yeah.
Of course.
Oh, that's a given, obviously. Can't you tell? All right, Pratesh, what about you?
In 5 years, I'm a big proponent of happiness, health, wealth, and love. So for me, what that looks like in 5 years, I mean, Cardano is definitely going to be there, running these stake pools. Oh man. I mean, Duckpool knows. Duckpool's in the chat. I see you, Duckpool. I mean, these gray hairs, these gray hairs, we've been going on 1 year. It's kind of hard to imagine. But I definitely do see myself running these stake pools for 5 years plus, much longer than that. I would really like to be an investor in real estate as well, because I think that real estate is a great form of wealth and passive income. I'd love to be a dad. I think that would be great.
Ooh.
Okay, snaps for you, Pratesh.
I got some kids you can have.
God, Alex is giving away children. In case you all didn't know, there's 4 of them.
He's taking a reward for Monet. I love my kids.
Yeah, I mean, aside from that, those are some of my main points.
Okay. Alex,
amazing.
5 years from now. Are you gonna be childless? Is that what I'm hearing?
No.
Oh, okay.
My first one will be almost leaving the home. I got started pretty early, so I have a 12-year-old, so that'll be fun. But I think the next thing, because of unsigned algorithms, I basically have this very exciting chapter to me now where I can work on what I want to work on and not what I need to work on. And for me, I think the first thing that I want to do is this idea that I was talking to Patrick about before any of this NFT stuff started, which was this decentralized insurance idea, which I have a video on my giant YouTube channel about. But basically, it's like kind of like a prediction market meets insurance, where rather than doing claim verification, you just use oracles to say like, I want an up or down bet on an earthquake hitting Tokyo, and then if it happens, then I get paid out this amount of money, and then by doing that, you basically don't need all this infrastructure paraphernalia, right? Because you're underlying the core thing that drives insurance, which is these kind of not all insurances, but at least for disasters, it's pretty easy to imagine some of these like USGS geological earthquake data becoming available through an oracle, and then being able to make bets on that. Not bets, but insurance or bets, depends on how you're using it, right? Or to seek yields through premiums, and I think that's a pretty cool idea. And so I've already started working on that. I have a investor who's willing to put up $1 million into it, but I'm thinking about trying to do it in like a DAO way where we use some of the unsick community. We have a lot of whales in it, like maybe 10 to 20 people put in 50,000 ADA or something like that, and we run with it and run.
I don't
with
have
it, not
50,000
rug
ADA,
pull
but
it.
I will
Yeah.
definitely put something in.
Yeah, pretty cool.
That's awesome.
That's so cool. Yeah.
That is really cool.
The funny thing here is like what somehow connects Alex and myself is that we came to the same idea at the same moment, because I wanted to start a company with two of my friends, which I'm now working on NFT Maker with, and we then, after many weeks of struggling, or months of struggling, decided on creating an insurance company, like a decentralized insurance one, not really focused on Oracle stuff, but more focused on voting systems for insurances and stuff like that. And Alex did the same, completely separate. And then we came together and talked about it, and then realized that we were basically doing the same thing. And then we went like separate ways, and then we suddenly came again together again to create Unsix. And I dropped the insurance idea completely for now, because in Germany we have this government state or operators, which is called BaFin, which is kind of like the SEC, and everyone is scared of the BaFin, and it's like definitely
sounds like a monster.
Yeah, it's freaking horrible. Nobody wants to deal with them, and it's extremely hard. Like there's probably not a single more difficult thing to do in Germany than to launch an insurance. And then we decided on focusing on the NFT Maker and stuff like that. But I'm super happy that Alex is going ahead with it, and I think he can pull it off, and we'll see.
We'll see. Thank you.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Okay, I want to updates on this whenever this happens. Man,
I'll send you some links.
Okay, deal.
Do we have links?
I have a pitch deck that I use to get some interest, and I have a YouTube video, which is like a Blackboard session, right? Which,
side note, Alex, what's your YouTube
cool.
channel?
I don't know, man. I don't watch that shit. That's just lame.
No. What's your YouTube channel? You gotta tell us.
I think it's Monad Pool, but like I haven't posted anything in 2 or 3 months probably.
All right, you're gonna post something in the next 2 weeks.
Okay.
Monad Pool, those of you go YouTube it.
I'm talking in chat. Yeah.
Do it. I don't know, 5 years from now for me, funnily enough, I will still be vested actually in Noom. We're gonna have a 5-year investment period for the founders.
That's a long one.
Yeah. I'm actually really excited, guys. I'm not joking. Man, this is life changing for me, in the sense that I'm getting to marry my two passions, tech and music, and get to actually make a change. It's stupid. I mean, in the most best way possible. It's gonna be really challenging, legally speaking, just
Mhm.
because of. Actually, a little bit of good news. Side note: I had dinner with an IP lawyer friend of mine the other night, and he made a comment. I was telling him, I said, I really, really look forward to the day in the American courts where a smart contract is held as a legally binding contract. To which he responded, he said, "Well, precedent's already been set." I said, "What?" And he said, "Yeah, in the '90s." And I said, "You're going to need to unpack this for me a little bit, because
I'm still
this is
here.
mind-boggling. If we see you, Alex, we hear you with us in spirit." And he said, "Anytime you click I accept on the terms and conditions in an app or anything like that, it's already been legally litigated in court as legally binding for a person." He said, "So there's absolutely no difference from a smart contract perspective of you clicking accept or minting in our essence, right, or locking it in, from accepting terms and conditions with a click of a button on an app." I said, "Holy cow. Okay, well, this is fantastic." So, I don't know. I don't know about you guys, but like, I haven't put out any videos on my YouTube channel in the past couple of weeks because I've been so freaking busy. Because we have a weekly team meeting every week at the same time. Then we have a founders meeting, and then we have our ambassadors meeting where I'm meeting musicians, like people that are writers and artists from Nashville, LA, New York, Texas, people that are like in charge of live performance venues. So their entire job is getting people's butts in seats to concerts. And so putting all that together, it's been wonderfully time consuming. So yeah, and now we're trying to, we're in the process of creating a DAO, right? And that's money, and lots of money, and trademarking the company and all these things and the logos and all that stuff that makes up what it is you're going to see, right? So I love it. It's super fun, and I hope maybe in 5 years that I actually get to make money putting music on the very platform that I helped to create. So that's kind of where I'm at. There you
Isn't
go.
it fun
Sounds amazing.
There's always like the platform versus content kind of thing, and I think that what you just said is so interesting. That when people make tools that allow them to do what it is they're passionate about, like I kind of believe in those platforms a bit, and so because you are the user, right? Like, and you know what the problems are, and so I think that you get a lot of insights into that. So I'm really excited to see what you guys do.
Man, it'll be interesting to say the least. And it's intense. Every music, I can tell you guys this, every musician that we talk to and we tell them what we're doing and what we're building, they go, "Holy crap, I just didn't even know that was an option." I mean, like, truly, not joking. So it's been, I have a sneaking suspicion that we're going to be, we already have some artists that are on like Spotify with, I don't know, they have like 30 or 40,000 monthly listeners that they're already saying, "I'm pulling my stuff off of Spotify so I can be exclusive on Noom,
Mhm.
and utilize the marketplace and fractional ownership side of things." So I don't know, pretty soon somebody's gonna be able to go to our DAO and say, "I would like to request $10,000 to create an EP," as opposed to going to a label and signing away 100% ownership. So, and when that happens, that's going to be so freaking cool. It's just the legal part is just, it's
Watch
expensive.
out, Nashville.
Hey, right? Like, it's not hard. It's just expensive, from the legal perspective, right? And so, that's why we have like 9 people now that are working sweat equity on their own time in all different time zones. It's pretty cool. I could fade into the ether and it would still probably happen at this point, which is really cool. So there you go. That's my 5-year plan. I'm still doing music in some way, shape, form, or fashion.
Ryan, you're gonna go
Sounds
for
amazing.
Fun 6, right? Are you going for Catalyst?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, yes, we're doing that too. We're going to be submitting our proposal to Catalyst Fund 6 here very soon. We'll have lots and lots of information. Big Pay is in the chat. Okay. I see you, Big Pay. Yeah, Fund 6. We are just essentially, just to let folks know, like, the legal fees for doing this, that's going to take, Patrick, this, forming a company, anytime when you're doing crypto and startups like this, you got to get your legal base taken care of. Otherwise, you can do all this work and it can be for naught. Right. So we're going to be transparent though. So we'll have I can let you all know this here too. We're having a refresh on the website next week that will have, I think it'll answer lots and lots of questions for people on how's this going to work, et cetera, et cetera. So yeah, that's going on. So thank you.
That's awesome.
Appreciate that.
That's cool, man.
Billy
Amazing.
Riley asked a question in chat. What's the next exciting NFT project to follow, guys? I just have to add some information that it's already publicly out there, but I don't know that people really understand it. If you own an unsig, I'm basically going to airdrop or make available whatever I do next for free. I haven't quite figured out the details. I'm thinking to avoid having to send out 2 ADA to every single unsig. I might make like a smart contract where you send an unsig to, and it basically mints and returns you back an NFT from this new series. That way you have to include the round trip fees and make it a little bit easier on my pocketbook now that I no longer have a income. But that's something that I'm now turning to work on. And so yeah, that's
Alex, I gotta say something in reference to that. So for those of you who don't know, and Alex, you might want to reach out to this lovely gentleman. So we are actually Muse for our airdrops. We're gonna be utilizing Andrew, his Project Firehose. Do what?
Blue Cheese Steakhouse, Westberg, Andrew, or
Andrew Westberg. Yeah. So we're gonna be utilizing Andrew's Project Firehose for our NFT distribution to our delegates.
I actually know someone in the NFT business. I don't know if I have the license to go.
Oh,
but yeah.
Okay, then. Well, then there you go. Yeah. Just for the distribution for the delegators, though.
Yeah.
So you all, side note, listeners, you should go check that out too. Andrew he's an OG. He's a wizard.
Yep.
Actually, is what he is. He breaks things on the Cardano, the nodes, like more than people that are working on the thing full time. He's stupid in all the best ways. Like he's sitting there going, I tried this and this and this and this, and this is not efficient. Let me try it this way, and it's crazy. So, anywho, Big Pay, check your DMs, dude. I sent you a message.
If I close my eyes and I take it a little bit more nasally, I think your voice sounds a little bit like, "Hey guys." No.
Do I need to adjust my EQ settings for you? Is that what I need to do?
Do you hear it? Am I insane? Maybe it's
I don't know. I have no idea. Yeah. It's probably a little bassy. Side note, if you guys have any questions in the chat, let us know. We're just literally hanging out, drinking, and talking all things. And listen, it doesn't have to be Cardano specific, guys. It can be crypto related. I mean, we have a lot of similarities, right, between projects. So I'm just throwing that out there. Side note, out of you on the chat, not you in the chat, you in here in the Zoom, anybody want to divulge their other cryptocurrencies that they hold? I've already done it. I'm just saying.
I just have ADA in Oregon.
I can go because I have a very open mind as it comes to other cryptocurrencies. So, and of course, you guys know, not financial advice. As we've already disclosed on the channel, we already know this, but I hold Bitcoin. I love the fact that I can have something that can't be printed. Bitcoin, Ethereum. Yes, I hold Ethereum. Much less than ADA. ADA is my number one holding, and I'm so glad. Oh my goodness, I'm so glad. It's honestly been the biggest life-changing thing that could have happened, just holding majority ADA in my portfolio. I hold VeChain. VeChain is actually one of the more interesting projects. So supply chain, if you guys are looking at logistics for blockchain in terms of tracking origin of high-end luxury items, I think that's a big use case for blockchain. So VeChain is definitely in there, just a little bit, not too much. Icon, I like Icon. So they're a South Korean-based blockchain. They've got the whole thing with bids and all that kind of stuff with smart contracts. They're doing the staking stuff. So I like how they have their I I think it's pretty interesting. Actually, I don't quite understand it as well as I do with stake pools, but I like how they have their staking mechanism. I've only got a few icon. What else do I have? I have some Litecoin. Yeah, I got a few blue chips in there. I got a
Whoa
few blue
now.
chips in there.
You
Yeah,
sound like
yeah.
you might be a diversified investor.
I'm
not a
fairly-
degenerate.
I'm fairly diversified. I gotta say, guys.
Pritesh.
I mean, as far as what I own, I mean, like I can't tell you how much, but I feel like
we don't need
it's
to know your ratios.
no.
Disappointed,
It's-
man. I thought you were like fully gone like me.
I don't go full maxi. I don't go full maxi, Pat.
But
No.
wait a second. I'm just going to let you know, man. Benjamin Cowan would have he would have to tell you something about holding Litecoin. He would say, your Sharp ratio, dude. What the heck, yo? Litecoin doesn't even come into the equation.
I'm waiting.
man.
Why are you hating
for-
on Litecoin? They're building a bridge between Cardano and Litecoin. Why would you hate on Litecoin?
I don't hate on them. I'm cautiously optimistic until something comes to fruition.
What is Litecoin at? I'm just curious.
I don't. While he's looking
I
up the
think
price
it's
of Litecoin,
Is it like 100, 200?
I don't know. Who
Something.
knows? But okay, for a second, let's talk about VeChain for a second because I have an issue. I have an issue with
147 for Litecoin.
with any cryptocurrency throwing out we are a supply chain solution for IoT. That narrative has been spun by X, Y, and Z crypto. Like that's I'm not saying Pritesh, you're bad for investing in VeChain, but like
You're bad.
most. Oh my god!
VeChain, honestly, VeChain is the most overhyped.
But
blockchain ever.
seriously, every crypto could be an IoT solution. Like they can be like Internet of Things. Like we can keep track of the sensor data, right? Any blockchain that can use metadata.
That's not completely true, and that's
All
not
right,
really
Patrick,
what
go for it.
VeChain is doing. I mean, VeChain is like not really that much focused. I believe, at least from my like little outside perspective, on like the sensoric data. It's just the general supply chain solution stuff, and you can track supply chain solution stuff very easily with Cardano, as we've seen, and with many other blockchains as well.
But that's what Ryan was saying, right?
Yeah.
But the point is, like it's very different to create something which is focused on IoT specifically. Like for example, IOTA, in my opinion, has a very good approach to IoT, which makes a lot of sense. They make transaction fees completely zero, which is like necessary for IoT because you have like millions of devices sending out transactions all the time, and
Patrick,
they centralize the whole system to a certain degree, having it run by big corporations, which also makes a lot of sense. I mean, IOTA is a German blockchain, so I'm a little bit biased.
But is it really a blockchain though?
Of course. I mean, I honestly,
It's not a
doesn't really
decentralized
matter if
blockchain.
it's not a
blockchain,
fully decentralized blockchain, but it is decentralized to a certain degree because
But it's
in
not
Germany,
actually
Bosch
a chain,
is
though,
running.
right?
It's a tangle.
Yeah,
which
also
which actually also makes a lot of sense because it accelerates transaction speed,
but only in like the most ideal situations, right?
But it decreases security. Like in general, it's a little bit faster and it can have more transactions, but it's a lot less secure than, for example, Cardano or Ethereum, which might be bad for a regular blockchain, but it's acceptable in the sense when you think about like millions of data points for IoT. So it's like a very specific thing that it does.
Patrick, stop this. Are you saying that there are blockchains that are okay sacrificing something to excel in something else for a very specific use case, and that there's not a one size that fits all?
Exactly.
Oh my God. I can't believe you just said that. Holy crap.
Disappointed.
For those of you at home that didn't catch that was most assuredly sarcasm. I'm just
that was Kevin Sorbo and Hercules. I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh my God. Oh man. Okay, so like not low key, but like in truly, Patrick, in reference to IOTA and the tangle that they are, the tangled web that they weave with people in the space, because no one understands what they're actually trying to do. Because, like you said, they're not. They claim to be a blockchain, but they're not blockchain, because blockchain tech in its most basic form is it's literally a list of transactions in a block, right? And they don't do that. And also,
Exactly.
we know that the the lovely brainchild of our particular project of choice does not deal in proprietary technology. Therefore, that's also a red flag for a lot of people, just in the crypto space, right? That it's, which, okay, whatever, right? But I will say, I think one of the biggest reasons people don't invest in IOTA is because they don't understand what the hell it is, because it's such a foreign concept to most of the people in the space.
Yeah, but maybe maybe it's irrelevant, because that's not the point of blockchain. It's designed to solve a very specific problem.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. I'm not saying it's a bad thing.
It's being adopted by many German companies at the moment, and it makes sense to be adopted. And even if this price stays very low, if it finds use case, then it's a success. In my opinion, at least.
No,
and
I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I just think that
for sure
it's a place to explore and to unpack more for people to actually really understand what the heck that they're trying to do and what specific niche they're trying to fill, right? And yes, Big Pay, he mentioned, yes, Cardano is centralized. Yes. Block production isn't, but also, can we just talk about the clock as an aside? When are we going to fix that? Like the centralized clock for us?
You mean like as far as stake pools, like in terms of time?
Yep.
Well, I think peer-to-peer. I mean,
wow, when's that happening though?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Are you talking about NTP and that thing?
Well,
I know there's papers on it, but
but like our synchronization method, right? We have a centralized clock at the moment.
So we have a centralized clock. I'm not totally up on the details. Oh wow.
Okay, Pratesh, I see you, beer number 5.
5 guys, I'm about to get through a whole 6-pack. I see you guys in the chat. I see you guys in the chat saying I'm not drinking my beers. Okay.
Big Pay said no. Oh no, was it SCP? Okay, take a swig, cousin. Take a swig. Man, he's a bad influence. I have
Big Pay is actually correct. Or like he said that the
NTP
that he's talking about Voltaire, and I tend to agree. I don't know that much about the clock, but having a centralized clock is not like such a big risk, because you can just exchange it if you need to. Yeah, in my opinion. And I've heard many people talk about this, which are mostly like non-developers. So like I don't really care about their opinions, and every developer that I've heard talk about it is said that it's irrelevant. So I'm just gonna trust it. I'm not super educated on the topic.
What people should understand about NTP is the protocol is like a standard thing, and you can point it at like Microsoft time servers, or like the Indian government had one. I remember when I was there, like anyone can set up an NTP server. It's not like, and everything. When I was a kid in my Windows computer, you had to set the date and time. You no longer have to do that anymore. That's using NTP, and you can change in your Windows PC. Not that I would pollute myself with having a Windows PC in my house.
Yeah, but, baby, there you go.
You can change the NTP server that it uses, and it's like it's a non-issue.
Hey, can we just take one moment to appreciate that? Thank you, ADA BTC chart. It is now at 3250 Satoshis. It closed above that 3,200 mark on the daily candle. Pacham, thank you. All right, resume the uptrend.
It's sorry, that was all because of us. Like people watched us and they figured, oh my god, these people are so amazing.
If Pratesh gets to beer number 6, we're going back above $1.50. I'm just throwing that out there.
Yeah. What are you guys gonna do for me in the chat if we get to beer number 6? If I hold it down at beer number 6. Oh, come on, guys. Come on. Oh, no. At least drop a like for beer number 6. I mean, come on.
So, side note, in reference to Alex, what you just said, I am not a techie, right? I don't code. I think it's very obvious, right? I have just enough working knowledge to understand the concepts, but if you ask me to do anything, I'm going to say peace out. Mm-hmm. But the point of the clock, right? I completely agree, and I think it's powerful to point out that it doesn't matter where the time comes from, but the whole point is the concept that as long as everyone is referencing the same thing, that's all that matters, right? As long as everyone's pointing to the same source,
and as long
of
as you can
information.
change it.
Right. So,
but
I'm with
let's
you.
talk about Voltaire by
Yeah.
Pritesh, by the way. Let's talk about Voltaire, because that's actually a super interesting topic, and Big Pay asked about that, and not the clock. And I want to use that to talk about, I think it's the most undervalued topic in Cardano at the moment. I think a very small amount of people actually know what they are doing when voting for Catalyst, or they even participate in Catalyst. And Voltaire is like the main pillar that everything is building upon for the future of Cardano, that we tend to ignore for a huge part at the moment, because we're so focused on stake pools and smart contracts and all that stuff. But Voltaire is what's really unique about Cardano, in my opinion. And at the moment, Cardano is completely centralized in terms of development. That's just a fact. I mean, if IOG goes under, Cardano dies.
No, I disagree.
Maybe it doesn't die completely, but
I mean, IOG, when they say they have 300 employees, they don't have 300 employees. They have 300 people working on the project, but most of those people are in Twig. They're in runtime verification. Like they're in all these little smaller Hask, like
but
many
IOG is paying
hands. IOG is paying them, but it's not. But you said it's completely centralized, and I'm just saying it's not completely centralized, because completely centralized would be a single entity with all the engineers in house paying everyone. What I'm saying is, why I'm saying it's not totally centralized is that the community has the ability to choose who gets these contracts going forward. If Charles were to pull a John McAfee and go like off on a heroin bender,
they don't have yet. They don't have the option to choose yet. And at the moment, the sole person who is making the decisions, like the really high level decisions, is Charles. And that's so decision making is centralized at the moment.
Can I Patrick, can I stop you for a quick second? I just want to clarify for those that you're listening that might not have caught that. What we're saying is that right now, Voltaire, which is supposed to be one of the core things that differentiates our project from many other projects, right? It's a governance model for the people who have the token to be able to participate in a democratic way of voting for changes to the ecosystem or the protocol itself, right? As of right now, we are not, as Cardano holders, we are not allowed to vote on protocol level changes yet, right?
But
that's not open.
Could we not? I mean, I have no interest in doing this. What the current network, couldn't we just fork it?
Of course.
And we could set up a parallel universe of stake. Like if we didn't like what Charles was doing, the stake pool operators are there. We have this thing. Like he is de facto running the thing, but it is like at the will of the community and of the stake pool operators who operate
choose
the network,
to run that node,
right?
Yeah,
so I would argue that like there is already a check and balance in place that if he were to fuck up so bad, people could say, nah, I'm out, Charles, bye. Like this is now Cardano Classic or whatever, Cardano Cash, right? Like people should really like that happens regularly in blockchains, and that's the problem that Voltaire solves, right? Is that you can have a mechanism on chain for resolving disagreements, and you don't have to do this weird thing where like what percent of the miners go with this version versus that version. And
so yeah, do I think we're past the point of no return at this point to where it's going to exist in some way, shape, form, fashion if people choose to continue to run a node? Yeah, I do. Like the ITC, right? Not ITC. The
ITN.
ITN. I'm thinking of back to other pool. Yeah, the ITN. People are still running ITN nodes. Some of them are. I mean, it's extremely tiny, right? But that in and of itself is another iteration, right? So I mean,
yeah.
It's a much earlier, but yeah, I'm with you. I think, like you said, if people get so ticked off with something that they think is fundamentally wrong, then yeah, they can choose to spin off their own nodes and do their thing.
Sure,
realistically,
but is that really decentralization? I don't know. I think if you want to have like one protocol and you want to decentralize that one protocol, of course you can fork it, but then it's a different protocol. So
No, it's the same
I'm not-
protocol running a different set of parameters, like running on a.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It's not network parameters are like the magic number or whatever. But even then, I don't think it would be different. It'd be a fork, because we would implicitly there would be all the existing, ADA that you had in your wallet would be, split off into this.
yeah.
New
I mean that's certainly possible, and you might be right. And it's decentralized to some degree, but the decision making for the main protocol, for the main Cardano chain, is still very much centralized.
Most assuredly.
And it's like a temporary thing, and we all know that, and that's just...
Well, so like, okay, so let's real world use case for this very, very thing, right? If it was up to the community right now, the pledge parameter as well as the pool parameter would be changed, I would imagine, by now. They are not. Right? And that's because the community as a whole cannot even, we don't have access to vote to even change those parameters, because they're going to be dictated to us by IOG until they give that over, right? So just for those of you at home wondering, well, how does this affect me? That's one very big way. How, right? So that stake pool that you're staking to that might only have 5,000 pledge ADA, if parameters were changed to what if we reached consensus for something else, then it might make that pool more lucrative or less lucrative than it is right now, right? For you, like, that's just a real world use case. Yeah, Big Pay said JCLI is still used in Project Catalyst. The ability to fork doesn't make a centralized protocol decentralized. That's also fair point.
It doesn't make the protocol decentralized, but what I'm saying is that there's a check on this, like, bad decision making of the centralized actor. Like, whatever, again, you have executive power in the U.S. government system, but there's a check and a balance.
Alex,
And
maybe a better word for this is not a check and a balance, because that, in my brain, when you say check and balance, that in my brain makes me think that means there's going to be a change to the current system. I think maybe what you're saying is there's a parachute to where you can choose to opt out of the current system and start a different system.
Yeah,
utilizing the same. I know it's semantics somewhat, but I mean that is a somewhat distinct difference, I would imagine.
My point is, it's not like Charles's universe where he can do whatever he wants without any repercussions.
No, fair. That makes sense. I mean, anybody who doesn't think that he has massive influence over the direction and the timing on things, they're not being realistic. Yeah. But hey, it's his brainchild, it's his baby.
Okay. Would you okay, let's say Charles dies, and we all hope that never happens. But would you sell your ADA?
No.
Imagine Charles dies like today. Would you sell your ADA?
No.
No? Really?
No, I wouldn't.
No.
And the only reason why I wouldn't is because of the people that I know that are personally that I know that are vested in the protocol. That's just me. Right? Like I don't think at this point in time, and I think you'd agree with this, as for example, myself, right, with Noom, I thought about it. I brought on people that knew more about things than I did. And at this point in time, I'm giving opinions, and I'm painting a vision, and I'm painting a picture. But then there are other people that are much more intelligent that are actually bringing this to fruition, right? And I think that Charles, at this point in time, it's so big, he's not the one doing this stuff. No. He's painting a vision, he's painting a picture, but he's not the one actually boots on the ground making it happen, right? So sure. Do I think there might be a hiccup?
Hiccup?
Yeah, but
there might be a big hiccup.
I'm not trying to downplay it. You're right.
Big Pay is like
just play out the scenario. The leader dies. There's a bunch of people with a financial interest in the project going forward. There will be a power struggle. There will be probably maybe a fork or two or something. And it's going to be like when the Emperor of Rome dies, right? Like or Alexander the Great dies. It might fractionalize. It might do something, but there's enough vested.
You know what's going to happen? Patrick is going to become ruler of the universe at that point. That's his 5-year plan.
Yes, that's true.
It's not a question of when. It's going to be like when does Patrick succeed in assassinating our dear Charles?
Oh crap! Okay. Side note, Big Pay. We actually, in reference to the legislation, we've already touched on that. But essentially, we are in the very much same camp as you with your video earlier today about that's ridiculous. Congress requesting people to comply with something that's impossible to comply with. So yeah, they need to go suck a big toe and actually figure out what the heck they're trying to dabble in, and that has no standing, does not need to
Well,
be inside the infrastructure bill.
I
Okay.
would. I mean, my earlier thing that I said is that like America or any country needs crypto. Crypto doesn't need any country, and I kind of disagree with what you were saying. Like we're doing this in the real world, yes, but if this is really happening, I would say people in America who have an interest in crypto should probably not assume that Congress is going to work out in their favor, and they should start to come up with solutions that allow them to circumvent these things like mixers or anonymizers or whatever. Because
or right, yes.
whatever, I mean, you just
Monero.
because it's a law doesn't mean that you have to follow it.
Well, I mean, yeah, yes, but okay, here's the deal.
This was, I mean, to bring it up, the Cardano mirror thing. Like laws are only interesting and only matter if they can actually be enforced. If you don't, like states, what is a state? States are like in my poli sci 101 course, like a state is the monopolization of violence. It says that I can hurt people, but you can't. And that's fundamentally what all of society is built upon, is this idea that a police person can lock you up, a judge can execute you or have you sentenced. And that is what all nation states are built upon. And if you take that away, you take away the ability for that thing to actually have any power and effect on you, you don't have anything.
Sorry, I just read Big Pay's message. He said Big Pay in federal prison. Yes. Okay, Alex, I have a rebuttal. You said
that's why we shouldn't have faces on our shit. That's why it's so weird that stake pool operators are not anonymous.
Well, so that's food for thought. Well, okay, so you said, it's not that we need governments, the governments need blockchain. I counter propose that and go, no, they don't. They already
I didn't say governments, nation states. Nation states and governments and countries are distinct ideas.
Okay, fair, but I mean, let's make an assumption that a nation state has to have some system. Let's just use the thought exercise.
There are places in the world that don't have nation states.
Okay, fair. But let's just use, for our example, the current power structure that we live in right now.
We being Americans in America.
Yeah,
most developed country.
Let's go with developed countries. Let's just say developed countries. They don't need blockchain. They already have systems in place that work, and they work they work efficiently. But they don't need blockchain.
When I say they need them, I don't mean they need them. Like without them, they can't survive. But they have more to gain from participating in that, because it's going to be like choosing not to adopt highways and automobile infrastructure in the 20th century, or the internet in the late 90s kind of thing. Like that's what I mean by need. It's not that you need it. It's that like you'd be stupid not to adopt it.
But I disagree still. Because they're not incentivized to adopt this technology. They make so much money utilizing their centralized systems that they built for themselves.
So this is where I disagree. I mean, I worked in R&D for like 7 to 10 years, depending on if you count the university time as a researcher or not. If you aren't moving ahead and other people are, you're about to get fucked in the ass. And so like if you choose not to be a part of the next wave of things, like just you can start unzipping your pants now, because it's coming.
So I mean,
you're gonna be an Amish person with like other people going by you, right? Like that's literally what's gonna happen.
Well, no. So I understand what you're saying. I think anyone in the blockchain space understands that this technology is revolutionary for third world countries and non-developed nations that do not already have infrastructure built. I mean, that's revolutionary because it's a cheaper way to do what the first world or developed nations do. It is a cheaper solution. But at the end of the day, if you really think about it, like, and just this is just me. It's not yes, the technology is revolutionary. It decentralizes everything, right? It replaces the needless middleman with protocol that's not incentivized to make a
Email
profit.
isn't that much better than fax machines. Why don't we still fax things? Right? It's not that much better. But like
Yeah.
you try to
It
compete
is.
against
It
someone who
is.
adopts.
You know, the thing here is like there's this mindset in crypto not crypto valley
Crypto
what's it called
Valley. I like it. Yeah.
Silicon Valley. If you want to have a startup and want some of the star investors to invest in your startup, you have to come up with a plan or with an idea that is actually not like twice as good as what's
10
currently
times as
there.
good, yeah.
It has 10 times as good. And the fact of the matter is crypto is not 10 times as good as the systems we currently have in
I
Europe or
disagree
in
again. I mean,
America.
I've dealt with, maybe because, you know, like I grew up in the States and I moved to Japan. Like you don't understand what a pain in the ass it is to send money internationally, and more
Internationally,
so
okay, well, okay, but
and
sending money internationally is one problem.
it's one problem. So I'm saying it's not every problem, but it is literally 10 times easier for me to send money to Ryan right now than to have to go down to my bank, fill out a wire transfer form, explain why I'm doing this, show some documentation, source where the income came from. And like it's very clearly more than 10 times better. And you know, I've been
For
doing
that
it.
specific use case, yes, probably.
And how much of the world economy is like transnational, international commerce now, or relates to paying vendors and people outside? Like, maybe it's the industry that I've been in, but we work with people all around the world, and these remittances and everything are a huge kind of pain in the ass.
No,
Exchange
I
rates,
get
all
that.
this stuff. Yeah.
No, I definitely get that. I just think those
Maybe
specific
the
niche.
Germans work with Germans.
Well, I
Yeah,
think those
not
specific
really.
use cases, right? Those specific use cases, it's great. It's cheaper, right? Listen, no one can argue that it's cheaper than the traditional system.
Cheaper
That's
and more
because,
convenient.
right? But I don't necessarily even know if it's more convenient.
Once
I'll
you're
be
in the
honest.
system, if you have crypto, it is much easier than, you know, 10 times faster to send crypto.
Potentially, but I can go do Apple Pay and go boop at a payment processor here as opposed to go scan a QR code.
Sorry, international payments again.
Oh,
Talking about.
okay. No, sorry.
Yeah, but then you're only talking about international payments. And I mean, I would argue that payments from first world countries to other first world countries are pretty easy to do nowadays. Maybe
Yes,
I'm not deep enough into like the
Wise has
technical
made
side
it
of
a
that.
little bit easier, I think, but like, you know,
here's the deal. Like the crux of the matter, is it easy? Yes.
Mhm.
Do I want to give away X percentage of my fees to this network of Visa or MasterCard or Swift for the privilege of using electricity down their wires? No. So, and do I want to have to let them know X, Y, and Z amount of information?
Of
No, I
course.
don't. Right. And so, you know, in those veins, yeah, I'm all for that. Because here's the deal. If we have this decentralized network and it's functioning and it's stable and it's relatively TPS wise, it fits our needs, right? Then yeah, get rid of the stupid third party middleman, right? Oh, he said I got a call. But yeah, no. Side note: Big Pay asked. He said if the bill passes in the states, he said, "What does this mean for the price?" I think short term, people are going to flip their chips, and people are going to panic sell, and there's going to be some massive sell off, and then the intelligent folks are going to hold, and they're going to buy the dip, and then it's probably going to go sideways, and people are going to forget about crypto for the next 2 years or something like that, and then next thing we know, people are going to look in the news, and it's going to be like, oh, Bitcoin is over 6 figures. Blah, 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 blah.
It's pretty much a buying opportunity, really.
Yeah,
That's a nice way to phrase it. It's just so annoying that as Europeans you have to care about some random bill in some random country across
right.
the globe, passed by idiots. I don't know. It's just it's so
Patrick,
frustrating.
I love your take on this. Give me more.
Yeah, I hate American politics. I hate that I know so much about American politics. I wish I could just ignore it. I think, you know, many things in Germany aren't good in terms of politics, and it's going to be very bad this year. We're going to lose Angela Merkel, so I think the most stable Western politician of the last like 15 to 20 years is leaving us, which is very sad, not only for Germany, but yeah, I don't know what else to say about that. My point was that it's still not as bad as in the US.
Oh,
What
All
is
right.
though?
all right, Pritesh.
Politics.
Give your thoughts.
I agree with Patrick. It's very exhausting to have to deal with all this politics. I'm just a guy who wants to better my life, support my family. You know, it's one
Cheers
of
to
those things.
that.
Yeah, you know,
I
like
can
here we
swig
are.
to
We've
that.
got to have conversations about people who have no interest in what a better world would look like, but yet here we are. You know, just trying to make our dent in the universe.
Pritesh,
Gotta
Alex,
deal.
that's a sign to drink. You have to take a swig.
Oh, all right.
I'm switching to Red Bull. It's too early for me to get into it.
Yes,
Yeah,
we're
you
just
know,
trying to make our mark.
this whole politics thing. I mean, the bill that they're trying to pass right now. I mean, we were talking earlier about having to relocate. You know, if I had to choose, and I mean, I'm just speaking for myself here, but if I had to choose between leaving America and continuing to be within the Cardano ecosystem as a stake pool operator, I mean, it just comes down to which one would I see myself in terms of providing the most value to both the ecosystem that I'm involved with and myself. I mean, I don't really see myself as not being in Cardano. As far as living in America, the best thing I got to say, the best thing about living in this country so far has been the Second Amendment. And I don't
Which one is that?
the Second Amendment is the right to bear arms.
That's the most stupid thing ever.
No,
that's like
no, but
the most ridiculous. I mean,
I think there's reason. I think there's reason behind it though, Patrick, because if
Getting
you think
saucy
about it,
now, folks.
yes, like if you think about it, why was the Second Amendment created? So it during the
For a
revolution.
well-formed militia, not for you to have a fucking AR-15.
Well, I truly do believe that there is going to be some type of revolution happening in this country. I mean, could it be the militia? I don't
God, I
know.
hope not.
I lived in Ann Arbor, Michigan, and one of my thesis partner, he's from upstate Michigan, and he worked in construction before he studied architecture, and he worked with his boss was one of these like Michigan militia guys, you know, like they dresses up in camo during the you know, on the weekend and goes out and like whatever, and they're crazy people. It's crazy, Pritesh.
I will say the law-abiding citizens who have the right to defend themselves. You know, that's probably the best thing about it. But other than that, you know, not much. You know, as far as the First Amendment, freedom of speech, freedom of religion, I think it's going down the pooper. You know, like it's really not there.
But I mean, this is like I mean, this is such a American fallacy that like America has like a monopoly on freedom and the world hates America because it's freer. Like there are many more countries in the world that have, you know, more freedoms than America, live out their lives just fine and have, you know, access to better healthcare and blah blah blah.
Yeah,
and it's
honestly,
not built on a right to bear arms.
It's so weird to me. It's so incredibly weird because every time I talk to Americans, it's always like 50-50. Some people say, okay, it's stupid with the whole weapons ideology, and others say, okay, it's like the best
It's the
thing
fundamental
ever.
core thing.
But
yeah.
if you talk to Europeans or people outside of America, it's like more like 95% think it's complete madness. It's the most stupid thing ever that everyone can wear, can have weapons. And I mean, just look at the school shootings in the US. I mean, it's very clear that something is going wrong there, and it would make a lot of sense to disarm people.
Yeah. I just want to point out, I'm the second American on here, and I've been very quiet.
Yeah. You're wise. You have a large. You're speaking to large people, but
No, you're good. I have thoughts. It's okay. I love hearing all this stuff.
People say that guns don't kill people, people kill people. But like I've been in Japan and I've been in like China when a mass violence incident happened. Like when someone goes on a mass violence incident with a knife, they kill 1 or 2 people and they injure maybe 3 or 4, and then they're subdued. Do you know what I mean? Like there is a vast difference in having the something that had like, because it's happened in Japan, it's happened in China. Like someone on a train platform goes crazy and they start knifing people, but people start first, they're scared, and then they look around and say, like, there's one dude with a knife, let's jump him. Some of us are going to go down, but it's okay, like, if we can overwhelm him. But like when one dude stands on a platform with an automatic rifle, like there's nothing you can do.
Oh,
I mean,
Lord.
if you have somebody who's psychotic coupled with an AR-15, no doubt about it, you got a problem.
You know how many people are in the world, and how many psychotic people there are, and how many AR-15s there are? Like, that intersection is going to happen like clockwork for the next.
I don't think I told you guys. So I'm my father's ex-military in the States.
Well, you got the build for it.
Okay.
What?
I'm a musician.
I haven't seen you on leg day, but your upper body, you're there.
Oh,
You're all these little twigs.
Your father is ex-military. Then is he just from my weird outside take? I don't really understand military in the US, but so is he considered like to be a veteran, or
Yes.
are only people who went to the war veterans?
No. Anyone in the States, anyone who has served and is retired is considered a veteran.
And is it really like such a big deal to be a veteran, and you get discounts in shops and stuff like that? Like we see.
That's the biggest perk of being.
That's the weirdest thing I've ever heard. Honestly.
So there's an
it's
insurance.
the opposite in Germany.
There's there's an insurance company that's for service people.
They have the best credit unions too.
Yep, they do.
PenFed and those things. Yeah.
Yes, they do. So yeah. No. So my father is he's retired now, right? So but he's also he's a gun dealer. That's what he's registered to do this, right? So he's in compliance with all the people that he has to be in compliance with, right? So I actually grew up around all this growing up, so I have a weird take on it. I wasn't desensitized to it in the slightest by any means. But I was around someone who was a healthy individual in the sense that this was more of a job that he did, right? But then also being around, I grew up in the South, so that is a very sacred thing for the people in the South. But then I'm in music, so I live and I left, and then your worldview grows, etc. So for me personally, this is my personal preference. Just like driving is not a right? It's a privilege. And everybody has the right to be able to drive a regular vehicle, right? You can go take a test and you can go drive a car. But if you want to drive a semi, right, or a large vehicle, then you need to have
interesting prefix on the
right. But if you want to go drive a semi, you need to have an extra license, right? You need to have an extra clarification on something. So I kind of personally, I fall into the category of, everybody can fall into that Second Amendment right where you can get X, Y, like a pistol and a handgun, yada, yada, that doesn't infringe upon your rights. But if you want to go get something that can do X, Y, and Z, then that needs to be much more heavily regulated. That's just me. But again,
I think I remember in India, like they had this funny thing to me, having been raised in the States, before elections, you have to turn in any firearm that you do own. Like you check it in with the police station, and it's very hard in India and in Japan to own a firearm. Like it's like not even a semi, like a pistol is a very difficult thing to acquire. Like you have to get like licensed and like continually licensed over and over and over. And
good. Very good. That's like, at least if you want to own it, at least the least requirement should be that you make tests on your mental health regularly, and you do like tests on
I will say
how to handle a firearm and stuff like that.
Oh, most assuredly, right?
Do you know that's positive and negative freedom? It's another like poli-sci kind of idea, like
no,
because so people talk about freedom all the time, but and I always forget which one is which, but one of these ideas is like the freedom to do something, and the other one is like the freedom to not be impinged on, right? And they're very interesting ideas, because when you just talk about freedom, it's a very strange thing because usually positive and negative freedom are inherently in tension, and that's like what people talk about, like my freedom to go to the grocery store and not have to worry about being shot up versus your freedom to own arms or whatever. I'm not saying that which one is right or whatever, but I think it adds a little bit more nuance.
Yeah. Well, and like here's the deal. I'm gonna back this up real fast. I know we've gotten way off crypto here, and we're gonna get back to it in just a second. But
I know a segue for that, but go ahead.
No. So this gets into the idea of if the American Declaration of Independence is a living document or not. And there's a big debate amongst where you fall in the political line of whether or not that document is supposed. Like people argue, they say you won't infringe upon any of my rights to bear any arms whatsoever. This is just what we're talking about. But then there are also people that say, well, there's no way on God's green earth that the founding fathers could have known that we were going to have nuclear bombs in 2000, and that there's no way that they would want everyone to have access to that, whatever, right? So before you even get down the rabbit hole of going, well, what is an actual, like, what's a reasonable bear arms versus, right? Where do you draw the line of what you can buy, right? So people can buy tanks. People in the States, people can buy tanks. They can buy like jets. They'll be de-armed, but they can they can buy crazy things.
Patrick is like, what?
Yes, it's. I mean, I know, Patrick.
It's all madness to me. It's.
I know. It's very. It's a foreign concept. I get it. Yeah. But I mean, it's allowed here, and but then, if you are of the camp that it's a living document, then one might, a lot of people argue. They go, okay, well, there's a lot of hunters. My family is a family of hunters, right? They live in the South. They hunt venison, right? And they, so they have their guns to do that, and so they use them for etc. Here's the thing: people argue back and forth on at what point does it become a no, this thing is only produced to create death, as opposed to what like, is this going to be used for just recreational purposes? And and then people get in our news media in particular, which I don't think anyone would argue that it's extremely there are agendas in any of the mainstream media in the States. There just is. It doesn't matter. You cannot find a mainstream media news outlet that's not going to be some type of agenda, either left or right. There's narrative spun around. It looks scary, so it's scary. People are misinformed on both sides of the aisle. I was a teacher, so I had to deal with mass shooting drills myself, but I also grew up with a father who I was around all this stuff on a daily basis. So it wasn't foreign to me, so it wasn't scary. I'm weird. I got both sides of the equation, as far as knowing actually what it is, but then also understanding the stress of not necessarily knowing if somebody was going to come with something that could have the capacity to do a lot of harm with a not skilled individual, right? So listen,
I think there's a lot of parallels to crypto and the regulation that Pei was bringing up about, this infrastructure thing. And it's like, regardless of what you think about it, one of the other community, actually, when I took my crypto winter hibernation from like 2013 till last year, one of the other tech communities I got really involved in was 3D printing. I built a 3D printer over there. And there's a very funny intersection of this, like 3D printed guns, right?
Oh, man.
And it's like, I think the conversation, to bring it back into crypto and some of the other stuff that's been going on, that I think is very weird, is like talking about whether a technology is good or bad is like a very pointless argument to have. Or like, should 3D printed guns be legal or not? Like, it doesn't matter if they're legal or not.
Completely agree.
You can make one. Like, if I wanted to, I could print one. And so, like, what is the response to that problem? And I think the knee-jerk reaction, and here's where I can be sympathetic to the Second Amendment folks, to always rely on laws when laws can't save you. You have to realize how ineffectual. This is the kind of I think the coming technological wave is just decentralization in all things, whether it's finance or manufacturing with 3D printing. Like anyone can put on IPFS the plans to a 3D printed, a firearm, and you can't take it down. You can't remove, like, it doesn't matter. Like if someone, has that link, you can get it and you can print it out. I think I assume that there's a little bit of metal in there that like is the hammer, like the thing that actually hits the projectile. No, it's totally just plastic.
So one use.
Single shot, right? Like the bond thing, right? But
Well,
it creates more problems. It's not even detected by a metal detector, right? But again, I think people need to. It came up in the mirror debate. Like laws are the way that we have typically as a society responded to problems. But I think you're going to start to see the inefficacy of laws to deal with things as technology makes it incredibly easy to circumvent it.
I think that's a very astute observation to make, because I think a lot of the laws are they're antiquated and they cannot. Well, like think about it. Laws move slow. Legislation moves slow. It doesn't keep up with technology. Technology moves at warp speed, right? And so most of the time, laws and legislation, just like we're seeing now with the freaking crypto and our wonderful American Congress people trying to do things, it moves behind innovation, and and more times than not, it causes a problem for the rest of us, right?
Or an opportunity, because the laws are so out of date that there's some kind of freedom to operate. Like the interesting thing about Portugal, it's not that Portugal has like low taxes or whatever on crypto. In Portugal, my understanding is the reason there's no crypto taxes, they explicitly have to opt into taxing something. And there's no codes, there's no laws about taxes on crypto. Therefore, you cannot do you get what I'm saying? Like the difference there?
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of interesting, versus in the States, your income is taxed. And your income doesn't care if it's a crypto income or if it's a whatever,
we can talk about that whole thing about like if you as a proof of stake network versus a miner, like of a proof of work network, when you have income, it's like, when do they tax you on it, right? That's that whole big spiel about, well, no, it's only taxed when you sell it. It's not taxed at creation, because that's a freaking issue. Because what does that mean? If a farmer grows crops, then he's all of a sudden taxed before he's even sold his crops.
That's an interesting way of putting it. I thought it was very clear. Oh, when you get it, it's a fungible thing. You can immediately sell it. That's income at the point, and then you pay capital gains on whatever the difference is when you actually do sell it.
Yeah, no. In proof of stake, they're arguing, at least in the States, that it's the same thing as growing a crop. Essentially, like a farmer does not pay taxes on his crop until he actually
as it sprouts. They pay at the point of sale. That's interesting.
So, just as an aside, I don't know how that's going to land. I hope it does, though, because that would be stupid otherwise. It's like, okay, I have stuff that magically appears in my wallet, and I just have to pay you tax on it randomly, even though I haven't sold it for a profit.
I'm gonna have to punk out, guys. It's noon here. I've ignored my family all morning, and I'm gonna have to head out. So it was really fun. And I hope that you solved the Second Amendment debate during this phone call.
Yeah,
never.
It's been going for a minute. I was surprised. I was like, wow, I feel like I opened up a can of worms here, but yeah.
You did. Dadgummit.
So, peace out, guys.
It's all good, man. Yeah, it was great. It was a lot of fun, man.
Side note, before you hop off, tell everybody your pool name again so they know where they can go.
Monad.
Monad. He is the creator of Unsigs, folks.
We have the IOG delegation right now. And yeah, we regularly mint blocks. We just had our first epic with 10 blocks in it.
Congratulations.
200% luck. We're usually around like 4 to 6 or so, but that was a pretty hot banger. So
that's epic. Okay.
So, thank you guys.
All right.
Have a good one.
Bye. Welcome. Good to see you, man.
All right, Alex. Take care, man.
All right, Cardano community, those of you watching, all this can of worms opened.
I didn't, guys. I gotta say, I apologize if it was a bit off topic and just like
great.
Oh man, yeah, okay, all right. I just want to make sure you guys are cool with it, because I was like, wow, I did not expect that.
No, Listen,
I just didn't expect to be in a call with two gun maniacs. No, just kidding, just kidding. No. I totally respect your opinion. I disagree very hard on this topic with like U2 and Big Pay, but
it's fine. Well, Patrick, I mean, I don't know if this came across to you, but it's not that I don't know if I was clear, right?
I did get your point that you're like very torn between the two sides as well.
I'm really not. I'm not so much torn. It's just that. I mean, if I was being like, I've told my father this. I mean, which he's a military vet, and I've told him this. I said, "Look, you have training, and a lot of people that come out of the military are messed up. I mean, they just are. Like, they're not necessarily the most mentally stable people. I can say that because I mean, that's what my father was a recruiter. His last couple of years, right? So, I really think that as far as America goes, I'm just going to say this: Republicans use that as a low-hanging fruit to garner up votes in election cycles, just like Democrats use other things. Both sides of the aisle utilize talking points that are much more nuanced than they like to put on mainstream media. But I will say this: I do think that if you just look at the numbers per capita of people versus gun violence, yeah, I mean you have to be honest and go. We do have a disproportionate amount of per capita and ratio of violence with population size, right? So I mean that I can't argue that. So do I think everybody needs access to a fully automatic weapon with a large capacity magazine? I really don't. I'll be honest. I grew up with that, right?
Yeah, for sure.
That's just that's me.
Let's just put this to rest because
no,
I
you're
think
good.
it's a topic that everyone will disagree on. And
no, you're good. You're good. I mean, look, it's fine. We can disagree without being disagreeable. And definitely. I don't even know if we're disagreeing, to be quite frank. I mean, I really don't know if we're being disagreeable because I like you said, like I'm torn. I've on both sides of the equation. I've literally told a parent as a teacher, I was going, listen, I am a teacher. I'm not a protector of people. That is not what I am.
That's absolutely not your job. Yeah. Like it's just sometimes so weird to like see these conversations or see these news from the US and even even your reaction previously to this one person in the chat, SCB, who's like a former veteran, and that's great and everything, and I totally respect that. But like your first reaction was thank you for your service, and then another person said much respect for vets and stuff like that. That's I'm not judging if that's like the correct response or anything, but it's just so different from what we would say if we hear, okay, you've been to the Bundeswehr, or not even in Germany, but other European countries. It's like nobody would thank somebody for their service here. Like very few people would, and I personally wouldn't. I think I don't really like military, and that's like the whole thing. Most Europeans think military is bad, and most Americans somehow seem to think military is good, and that's just interesting to observe.
It's a very big it's a great observation. It's a very big what's the word I'm looking for here? It's a very big cultural difference. But I think it's important to understand the differences there so you can understand the nuance between each other's culture, right? Yeah. I don't think you so I mean, to me, that's important. That's just me, right? And like in Korea, South Korea, everyone's required to serve in the military for a couple of years.
Yeah, right. Also really weird. I mean, okay, they have a very dangerous neighbor, so understandable. But
but still, if you look at the majority of Koreans, they do not want to be in the military, and they understand it's part of what they have to do, but they don't. I can only speak for the people that I know. It's not something that they even want to ponder on after they've left, right? So yeah, I mean, I think it's important to understand the cultural differences, and the only way that you can come to an understanding with each other is to understand the nuance, right? And so
yeah. It's so
I don't think it's a bad thing. I think the conversation and the dialogue is good. And I think the more globalized we get, the more we're going to run into these conversations, because you have so many different cultures that are working with each other, and there's going to be a lot of differences. And if people assume the worst right off the bat, that's a problem, right? If you come to a conversation with trying to understand as opposed to listening to just respond, that's a much different conversation to be had, right? So
For sure.
I think it's a wonderful dialogue. I wish our politicians weren't so polarizing and they were more nuanced like this, because I think most people will fall into the wonderful middle ground as opposed to a polarized left or right in the end.
Politics is also such a weird thing to me. In the US, it's like left versus right, and in Europe, it's like left, middle, right, and what you consider to be left is more in the middle for us, and what you consider to be right is like it's so strange to me. Like liberal in Germany literally is the middle, and in the US it's the left. So I used to be very confused about these things. But
you know what? I will say one more thing in reference to the gun issue and all that stuff. I will say that a lot of people get they're very quick to defend saying our rights and stuff like that, because a lot of people that believe it's okay with the Second Amendment, whatever that means. A lot of some of them I know, a lot of them, they feel demonized, and I know good people on both sides of this equation that are completely they have no ill will towards anyone. That's just a preference for them, and so people can get defensive in conversations like this because they no longer they don't view it as an attack on their opinion. They view it as an attack on their character as a person.
It's like when people attack Cardano in front of us, and we get defensive about it. I mean, it's true.
But yeah, it's the same concept, right? And I think if more people can make the discernment to understand that talking about a preference is different than talking about someone's character, and they're not mutually exclusive, I think much better dialogue will be had, just in general.
Yeah, no, you're spot on, because what we've seen in the media is you're either a Republican or a Democrat, and as far as what it is within European countries, if it's a polarizing party, you're either with somebody or you're against somebody. There's really no middle ground. There's no way to actually form a conversation with somebody and not be wrong about something. So I think the conversations that we've had is like, they're important for us to have, because they're on a broader sense. We were talking about crypto, but then the conversation drifted. So I think that
my bottle.
You finished the whole bottle? Oh wow. All right. Well, cheers to that. For everybody still in the live stream, here you go. Cheers.
Oh my God.
I know.
We've been going long.
We've been going a long time. Yeah, it's a long live stream.
Yes, Ken. Saturday Night Live. Welcome to
once you finish your bottle and your drink, I think we're gonna cut it, right?
Sure, that'll be fine by me. I'm just here. I'm just a guy on the internet talking with his friends. That's what it is.
It's amazing. Super awesome. Hello, Ken Adams. Really appreciate the guy. He's making amazing interviews.
For Project Catalyst proposal. Ken's doing some cool stuff with Catalyst.
What? Oh, Ken's in the chat. Oh, well, hello, Ken. He said Saturday Night Live. Big Pay just comes and drops grenades and just walks away. That's what he does.
Yeah.
He just went ka-chink, step back, enjoy. Love it.
That's very true. That happened to my Twitter space yesterday, I think. Too. I had this Twitter space, and I wanted to do like a very chill thing.
I saw
and
that.
then suddenly,
tuned in.
Yeah. Oh, you were?
Yeah, for a hot minute
actually.
I was there for about 10 minutes.
Oh, okay. I see. Yeah, I mean, suddenly four people from the Cardano Foundation were in there, and then Big Pay came in and he dropped the bombs on them, and he got into a few arguments, but it was super interesting. I had a lot of fun, and I'm very appreciative of things like that, because it's like my German mentality of not talking around the bush. And
listen, I don't think anyone that is in this space is looking and going, I don't want to work with you. everybody that comes here is like, I want to make a change for the better. I mean, not everyone is that wonderful, but for the bulk of the people that are in, at least I'm going to say just our Cardano ecosystem that are actually building, they're saying, I want to help create a solution to better things. And yes, in the process, a lot of people want to make some money, but let's be real, everybody wants to make some money because that's just human nature, and you want to be paid for your time. We got to be real about this. But they're wanting to build something that's going to change, and they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, right? And if people, I think that needs to be the primary focus for people. Yes, there is minutia and there are differences, and sometimes there are unreconcilable differences. I get it. That's just people, and that's human nature. But I think if people really were to take a long, hard look, they'll realize that those are very small and far between, as opposed to actually coalescing around a common goal. That's just me.
Yep, guys, real quick. So, beer number 6. This is for everybody. This is for everybody that's still in the chat,
Whoop, whoop.
and this is for Duckpool. So, just a quick shout out to Duckpool. So, we've gone 1 year on the Shelly mainnet, and just a big shout out to the OGs.
Okay.
We here we are. So,
Okay.
Duckpool has actually been the guy who's helped me, held my hand, and we got to Shelly from the ITN. So he's been the guy that's been steering me through, and just a big thank you to him. So here we go, number 6.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Okay.
Cheers.
Come on, Patrick.
Sorry, guys.
You had one job. Oh my gosh,
I've been a little bit distracted.
Ken, yes, unite and prosper, not divide and conquer. I'm with you, man. I'm with you. Oh. Okay, we got 2 controversial statements. I'm going to read the first one, and then we can. I have that much of my glass left, so we can probably cover these. And yeah. So.
Oh my god, these are very controversial. Go ahead.
I know they are. All right, Pay. I see you, dude. He said, I'll be straight up. My points, in my opinion, were reasonable, and Cardano Foundation doesn't get a pass because they're the big 3. That's the first comment. And I just want to unpack that for a second. And here's my initial thoughts. Yes, I agree. The more decentralized we get, and the more that the community takes control or has a say and is more plugged into the direction of where we are moving, right? I believe that that's going to be a growing pain.
Is that really a controversial statement, though?
Well, yeah, kind of, if you think about it, right? It's controversial in this sense, and I think you will not disagree with this. You don't want to, no one wants to talk bad about the people that are making things. They don't want to be critical, not talk bad. They don't want to be critical of the people that are making the thing happen that's going to help enable their business model.
That's true. That's true. And the Cardano Foundation has been super nice to me, and they're delegating with Fable, so I can't talk bad about that.
Yeah, I myself have been a recipient. I've been a recipient of the CF stake, right, for 3 months. And so yes, and that's the right, money talks. Also just good relations, right? And I think, Pay, I have to salute you. I think people that can do it with a kind heart and with good intentions, as opposed to nefarious and trying to sow dissent, I think those are the right people to have. I think criticism is great if it comes from the right person and with the right intent, right? And for people that just, the keyboard warriors who just want to pick and just say things to get a reaction online, that's useless. I don't listen to that. But people who are coming with this from they have skin in the game, they're not trying to tear down the Cardano Foundation. They're just looking at it and saying, hey, this is a problem, or hey, this is something we need to improve upon. People need to give that merit. And I think it's going to be a growing pain that we're going to go through as they relinquish power and the community takes more power, right? So I'm with you. I'm totally with you. So yeah, that's the first controversial statement. What do you guys think about that?
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Yeah, I'm with him. I mean, the thing that I understand from his situation is, that he had to go through the whole issue with being removed as an ambassador. Ever since that happened, I've stopped submitting my spreadsheet, because we get paid for creating content as an ambassador, but it's about $10 per video. So I can't make up for my time just for submitting the spreadsheet saying that I did create this content. So I've pretty much just thrown in the towel with the CF, and whatever type of organization says that, hey, they would like to be affiliated with me for representing Cardano, I do that on my own accord at this point. So as far as his viewpoint on that, I agree. I have to say that they don't get a pass. They really don't. I mean, we have to hold each other accountable. That's just how we're going to become better. That's all it is.
No, I'm with you totally. Totally.
I didn't even know that you're a Cardano ambassador, to be honest.
Yeah,
is that a good thing or a bad thing for Ted?
Well, I'll take it, because I haven't really announced it at all. It's not. I mean, for me, it was a big milestone when they said that, hey, we'd like to have you as part of our ambassador program, but I haven't seen much reciprocation, acknowledgement, anything after that. So
okay, here we go. I know the CF they've had a shakeup ish, and they've rearranged, and they've brought in new people, and they're getting their feet under them, right? And they are they're not restructuring, but they're bringing in the new people, and they're making sure that their system is working for the people that they've brought in at this point in time, right? And so what I'm looking for from the foundation moving forward is I want more information out there to the community in a tactful way, letting them know that we are being good stewards and we are working in the protocol's best interest to achieve adoption without necessarily having to give away pieces of information that would, go against some NDA or something like that. And there are ways to do that, and to give metrics on that without breaking some NDA, I would imagine. Wouldn't you agree, or do you disagree?
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like they've taken a backseat to IOG, and which is understandable because they've been restructuring. They've been trying to get things together after they had the upheaval, right? But
I mean, I do have to give them credit. I think that from what we've seen with the Cardano Foundation, their previous, I don't even know if it's considered a CEO, but whoever was the head of the Cardano Foundation previously, he didn't have any structure. I think that Frederick Regard is a much better leader for the Cardano Foundation. So I do have to give them credit with that, knowing that there is proper leadership now. But just to think that this entity is going to be somebody who is going to steer the future of this protocol, right? Like, we really have to decide, okay, so who is going to be the ones making the decisions going forward, right? So I think that's a big decision. And, one thing I'm really looking forward to is when we can actually say that, okay, these stake pool operators, these delegators, these are the ones that are actually going to have the power to determine where the future of the blockchain is going to be. So that's what I'm looking forward to. And I know a lot of that is going to come to Voltaire, where we can actually vote. Catalyst right now is kind of like that, I don't know, I guess that kindling to the fire, which is Voltaire. So it's still in the early phases, but I think once we actually do see voting on chain, we have an on-chain voting governance system. That's going to be a big thing.
No, that's fair. Side note, if you see me petting something, that's my German Shepherd that I have right here. He's just wanting a little bit of loving right now. He's sitting beside me. All right, Patrick, I see you and Pei going at it over here about CF asking for funds and then IOG asking for funds. All right, Pei, dropping bombs over here, Patrick.
We're not really going
No, you're not
to
going
be
at it.
honest,
You're agreeing.
because we agree, and that was the topic of the Twitter space as well. There was this guy from the Cardano Foundation, and we kind of touched on the whole idea of the Cardano Foundation asking for more funding via Catalyst. And then Pei asked some very interesting critical questions, and he's very critical of the whole idea of them asking for more money. And I agree, because I mean, they have, I don't know how many hundreds of ADA, and the same goes for Mergo and for IOG. And it's a very interesting topic, because I'm just curious how much money IOG is actually going to ask for once they propose their new 5-year plan, which they hopefully will soon. And I mean, what is the scale that we're talking about here? Are we talking about like 100 million, or are we talking about 500 million, or 800, or like 50 million? I don't know. I have really no idea. I'm guessing it will be at least 100 million.
Well, what funding round are they going to do that on? Because last time I checked, at least Fund 6, there's only going to be 4 million available.
They're gonna do that once we have Voltaire on the mainnet. That's the thing.
So we're looking at sometime in 2022, maybe into 2023 is what I'm looking. That. I mean, I can't picture it being any sooner than that with the current valuation.
I mean, the goal was to be like a plan for 2020 to 2025, but now we're already in 2021, so it might get delayed a little bit.
Might get delayed a little bit. Yes. Oh man. No, I'm okay. So here's the deal, right? So let's just be really frank for a second. They have enough ADA. They can run their own stake pools, saturate their own stake pools, and then generate their own income, essentially. Right.
Fact of the matter is, they even have enough ADA. Like, if IOG and the Cardano Foundation and Emergo talk with each other and they say, okay, we want to get this proposal out, they can just go ahead and vote for their own proposal. And they have 1.5 billion or 1.8 billion ADA at this point, according to Big Pay, who says that they have 600 million. Like they can push every proposal through that they want at this point. I don't know the amount
voting
of total
power.
Yeah, the voting power. Just and that's a little bit scary. You can't really do like a voting for them at this point. Like, we have to have at least like 10 billion ADA voting power in total, or more.
No, I'm with you, right? So yeah, I mean, here's the deal. When I look at them asking for money, I don't know how much they're going to ask for. If it's a novelty amount, then I would look at that going, okay, they're just participating in the protocol and they're showing people how to use the protocol to ask for things. But if it's a large amount of money they're asking for, then that gives me pause, and I go, what have you been doing with your stake pools for this entire time? You can self-fund yourself just from the protocol. Why would you?
I mean,
want
it's
to
not
detract?
only gonna be funding for them. Of course, they want to get many companies in, and I kind of get that, but still, it's like very difficult to understand giving them more ADA, and I'm actually like, that's one of the critical moments in Cardano's near future, in my opinion, because I can totally see if they ask for too much, if they ask for 500 million ADA, I can see the community rallying around the idea of them, of not giving them any ADA. And I could see a potential future where IOG actually does not get the funding for like their proposals, if they get too greedy, and that would probably be extremely bad for Cardano as an ecosystem. But it would also open up some interesting questions of who else would develop the protocol, and then other companies might come in.
Right. Well, according to Charles, there's 13 entities all building Cardano at this point. Pay just did some math apparently, and he posted. He said IOG makes 2 million ADA an epoch.
That's insane. That's so much. Oh my god.
Wow.
One day.
If only.
If only. If we could all pull our pledges together, then we could potentially maybe do something like that. I'm okay. So
No, we can't.
No, we can't.
Chance.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, I have a question. When do we think that they are going to change the pledge parameter?
It's going to be after Goguen. We know
For
that.
sure.
Which iteration of Goguen?
I'd say it's
Alonso.
this year.
You think it's this year?
I
Okay.
think it's going to be after September.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just curious. And now here's the better question. What do you think they're going to change the parameter to? You think it's going to be that curve parameter that
Yeah, Sean McMurdo. Yeah. So
I gotta say, wait, I gotta say, Rick and Philippe are they're a little not salty is the word, but they're like, guys, didn't we like also say this very same thing about 2 years ago? But then I'm just saying, that's what I heard.
I feel like that's the thing, you're an OG, so people will ignore you at first, and then they'll finally wake up, and then you'll be like, well, wait a minute, I was saying this all along.
Yes, that's what I think Rick is saying right now.
Yeah.
Rick, side note, I'm wearing a hangry shirt. I'm ready for Taco Tuesday. Come on. Sorry. It was in my I went through my Twitter feed and I saw his did you not see his taco thing? He had a whole saga about tacos and about pickled jalapenos, and I was like, no, fresh is the way to
I
go.
mean, I saw that, but I don't know.
Sorry, I live my life in Twitter, apparently. Obviously, you have a life that you live outside of the Twitterverse.
No,
I
I
understand.
spent way too much time on Twitter. I'm just very tired at this point. And guys, I have to leave. It's I don't even want to know what time it is. It's like almost 6 a.m.
All right. Well, we have 2 people watching. I mean, we have 10 people watching right now. For those 10 of you, we appreciate you for coming on board and hanging out with us.
Yes.
But at Patrick's request, we're going to bid you all an adieu. But we do hope we do see you again sometime soon. Big Pay, we might have to have you on next time so you can add some more fuel to the fire in person this time as opposed to the chat.
That'd be amazing. Yeah.
I think we will do that next time. So
one last shameless plug before we log off. I'm sorry to
do it.
But one last shameless plug. I have a Catalyst proposal for NFT Maker version 2. You can vote for it
vote
today.
for NFT Maker.
Vote. Do you hear me, everyone here?
Do it.
Vote for NFT Maker version 2, Catalyst Fun 5. If you have not voted already, you better freaking do it. If you're not, then what are you doing? Seriously, participate.
You guys. Thank you.
No, you're welcome. No, seriously. All right. Anybody else say any closing remarks before we hop off of here?
Hey, I just want to say thank you, everybody, so much for joining us in the chat. I had a lot of fun. I hope you guys had fun. There's so much to talk about, and I'm glad that this conversation was open and we were able to branch off into things other than crypto and Cardano. That's what brings us all together. But then again, this world that we live in, it's a crazy world out there. So it's nice to be able to bounce ideas off of people who are not judgmental, who are open to different ideas. So I just wanted to say thank you all so much. I really did enjoy it. Yeah.
I'm just going to second everything Pritesh said. In case you haven't noticed by now, there are some amazing people in the space. Not discarding the 2 on the screen right now. Our community is strong. There are tons of wonderful people here that come from very different backgrounds, but that are choosing to work together to create something much larger than themselves. How lucky are we that we get to be a part of this at this current time in history? So it's pretty awesome. Guys, thank you both of you for coming on. And we're like crypto besties. We met through this entire thing. It's crazy. But for those of you in the chat, guys, thank y'all so much for tuning in. And yes, we will do this in a month from now. I'm not going to go through an entire bottle of wine the next time. We'll probably keep this to a little bit shorter. Maybe we'll see. We'll see how much. We'll see what's happened in the ecosystem by then, and we'll see how much Grenades Pay has to throw in the conversation. But until next time, everyone, thank you so much for tuning in, and